I've been bout my papyrus since I've been in it. Put me in the debate, you know I'm gon' win it. If I scream black power, don't get timid. If I say black city, I'm talking about Kemet. If I say black city, I'm talking about Kemet. Primary research and we done pushed it to the limits. All you dudes finished. The king counting cattle up with brother Reggie. When I'm in Oakland, smoking, bro, they love the Chevy. Back in the day, it was the spokes on the chariot. Long procession when the king got carried out to every spot. Woman looking nice as ISIS. I read ancient texts, so my advice is priceless. Nubian gold, your ice don't entice us. Beating me harder than counting grains in your spices. Your heart was beating, but your brain dead, you're lifeless. Yo, they ain't nothing like us, yo. Don't try to make me mad. Make me smile and say you love me, man. That's real right there. Yeah, come on. You should listen to your main man's advice. Do a YouTube, apologize like Dice. Or the back fade coming like the Antichrist. Egyptologists see me reading and said that I'm nice. I got a Stella with your name on it. I'm like Sargon. You the type of dude wake up and your car gone. Told, cause of the money you owe. Before you stream, you should clean up that humble abode. Like I'm not in city for my woman in gold. I keep the pseudos running, people coming in droves. You catch me on a live stream with Pan-African James. When we building, call us by our African names. I'm for the children. And ain't nothing happen to change. We on that black hype, so we still packing them things for protection. Got connections, My complexion, pure black, that's the essence. Make me smile. You love me? Show me some love. All right.
All right, let me run this other tune. We're going to get right into it. I was up studying, wondering why I wasn't streaming. Yeah, let's get right to it. Let me go on and get this next one. That hard coupe could have played, but I want to hear this.
Yeah, and I'ma work cause I ain't going out lazy, bruh. Thought he was conscious, but the homie just played me, bruh. The house of consciousness is going out crazy, bruh. They crazy, bruh. Alright, it's getting kinda dirty in these YouTube streets. The Amon Ra squad, God thinking you dudes weak. Islam or Judaism, where you learn what you dudes teach. The West African rapper slapping with that voodoo speech. All that sub-Saharan terror about a kufu feet. I'm like Norma, that agricultural farmer that grew you wheat for the storehouses. We feed the Hebrews and lead the people when we defeat the feeble. They wanna know polite rip me off, but Sonetta paid me my money though. That mean he 100. And I'ma work cause I ain't going out lazy, bruh. Thought he was conscious, but the homie just played me, bruh. The house of consciousness is going out crazy, bruh. They crazy, bruh. Nubian with the Jews, I rock the pinky. I think Jesus got to save me. A doctor save me, a Dr. Inky. I cop the copper jewels on blue and red. I'm not the chakra doctor y'all claim woke, but you in bed. You won't pop a chopper, you Grandmaster J. You just talking. Punks turn the other cheek and you will walk away. Y'all gon' have to pardon my Moorish. That's Taharka Bay. I'm on that black African power on my darkest day. And that's my brother Ankh stomping them other punks. We brought them gators to Italy, you loving the Moors. And now I'm teaching from my shrine like brother Jabari. Scoping the savannah cause I'm on another safari. Tasha K showed us Frank record. Young Pharaoh just losing his mind and y'all can't help him. I know one thing, you're a fool if you're still out here donating to Umar school. That shit through. And I'ma work cause I ain't going out lazy, bruh. Thought he was conscious, but the homie just played me, bruh. The house of consciousness is going out crazy, bruh. They crazy, bruh. Look. You showing your hidden colors like Tariq Nasheed. A bunch of pseudo information I don't think I need. Probably lying on the text, ask Divine or Zion Lax. Just get that microphone ready. With Medunetta, I'm Stone Jetty. A Ujahu, a Saw Imhotep. Y'all probably timid still on them Bobby Hemmett teachings. I'm in Gozy with the DNA.
Cat's corny and it's killing me too. You talk that black shit, but you look Arab like Gorilla Hebrew. You need therapy, they telling me just chillin', be cool. I'm a magi orchard, you a sad guy talking.
And I'ma work cause I ain't going out lazy, bruh. Thought he was conscious, but the homie just played me, bruh. The house of consciousness is going out crazy, bruh. They crazy, bruh.
All right, what's up? Let me see. In case you don't know, you should know. Cop them tunes right off that album right there. Fights Over Egypt. Let me see. My check. What up? What up? Okay, cool. So I was just doing some studying. Let me see what we say in the chat. What's up with Sot 12, Solomonic, Yurik, what's up? Chematology in the building. Sot 12 says, every book says black soil. There are two possible reasons for black soil. A, black silt, or B, soil looking black due to water saturation. Okay, so we'll deal with soil and silt. So, you know, at the recommendation of my man Yurik, I started going through the TLA this morning, looking over some attestations to Happy, who we know to be the god of the now. And this story, after reading through a few attestations, this letter is a letter from Thebes. There's a letter to Hakanakhet. And the time period is around 11th dynasty. Now they say this is after the unification of the empire. This will be almost at right around the times when the term Kemet for a location came into existence. And this would be very good because shouldn't we be referring to the soil or the silt or whatever they say it equates to prior to us using this term as a toponym for a specific destination location, correct? So when looking through text like this, it's cool to read. You can just come out from the gate with this first sentence speaking to Marisu from the mortuary priest Hakanakhet. Everything that is flooded in our farmland, everything that is flooded in our farmland, you are the one who should cultivate it with care for all my people and for you. Right there, eyebrows go up like, oh, we should look through the Metal Nature terms to see what terms they're using. What are they using for farmland? What are they using for cultivate it? What is this process? Well, the process will be explained right in this short 7-page story. If we come over here and start looking, I can make this a little bit bigger, I guess. If we start looking through the terms, we're going to click right here. It says to sprinkle or to moisten, right? But notice you don't see nothing over here says to sprinkle or to moisten. It says everything that is flooded. You are the one who should. So here's his name, Hakanakit, right? In Mersu, they go Mersu. They're talking to. So right at this ear right here is where the statement is like beginning for what he should do. And we could take you, this just means according to, basically. But they say as far as to, regarding is what I should have said. So this means regarding, right? Now it says to sprinkle with water to moisten. Regarding the water, regarding irrigation, or to be saturated or to be moistened, right? You feel me? Regarding this land being moist. Now it says all, and the bed is just all after that, right? This is just everything or all. Feel me? So now it's regarding all of, everything getting wet, and then it says in, this M is in. Now ayat in. We see a H, and a T. So some might say ayat in, ahet. Why am I saying het? AHET is how I would say it. Ahet in, right? That is our farmland. That is our farmland. So it's fun because if you click into the term ayat, familiarize yourself with when they actually want to talk about farmland, stop telling people it's Kemet. Then you could go through, because look, you see how this is defined in the vertible, right? As a field of arable land. So to us, that's that black fertile soil, right? So they telling you when it's arable land and it's a field of it, agricultural or arable land, we are going ahead. And it's used here as we just seen it. Everything that is flooded in our farmland, you are the one who should cultivate it. But we want to find cultivated, right? To see how they using that too. So here we go. This is our land right here. This is you are the one, basically. Netek, you. So this must be, let's see what this word is. I'm not familiar with it. To cultivate, there you go. That's the term we're looking for. So sakah, and we see the plow here, right? We ain't seen Kemet yet, but we sure see that when that water come, you supposed to, this is the person who's supposed to at least go into his farmland when it is flooded and cultivated with care. For all my people and for you, for behold, I assign it to you, your responsibility. May you be very hard at farming. I mean, may you be good, I guess, may you be very hard at farming, whatever. Take great care that my seed be protected. That's interesting. And that my property be protected. Now, he says, take great care that my seed be protected in a song where he's talking about farming. Oh, I said a song. In a tale or a letter, which is discussing agriculture. So, you know what I'm saying? What is his seed right here? Take great care that my seed be protected and that all my property be protected. Obviously, his seed is what is being cultivated into his field, his ayat. But we'll continue. We got a lot to see about. We'll look at a lot. All right. And that my property be protected for. Behold, I assign it to you, your responsibility to take great care of all my property. Let Henty's son Naked go down to Perha together with Sa-Nebnut. It says, so that they can cultivate 2/4 of the land on rent. So what they gonna cultivate? 2/4 of the Kemet then, I guess, right? In this instance, he just simply, let's go see. So this is our cultivate, right? Let's look. There it is. It's the same ayat, ahet, right? Of the land, and that's a whole number. So I don't see where they even put the Medu Neter 4. It must be missing. Yeah, I mean, I don't even see of the land. Maybe it's just coming from this right here. But we don't see any reference actually to so far, just in this one story. It's not a big deal. We're just going to keep on looking through various stories and see what terms they actually use to reference these things. It says, now when they have collected the value as payment for the emir that is in Perha, they shall use it there also. You should not have any more to do with this men cloth, the one of which I said, weave it. For they shall take it after they have acquired it in Nebesit, right? And they shall rent a field. So they shall rent a field. Since we understand a field is a area of cultivatable land, we're not going to say that we think field is the word they use for soil. I'm just trying to get us to be familiar with the terms they actually use. We got all those though. If it is convenient for you to cultivate 2/4 acres there, cultivate it. You shall find fields, 1/4 field with emmer and 1/4 field with underground barley, namely on good fields of Chep Eshi, right? Whatever. As I look over to the Medu Neter, you notice you probably don't see no reference to nothing. What you say, side 12, a false dilemma is logical fallacy, is saying that answer can only be A or B. So you just, what? Who said anything about A or B? You just made up, what's that? Classify what you just did. Because you just made up a false dilemma about a false dilemma. Nobody did anything you're talking about. There's no A or B here. It says, but do not descend upon any man's land. You know what, man, I swear they just was cutting my streams off yesterday. And I was like, I don't even know. Somebody say something in the chat. Let me know if I'm even out there. You shall ask Hayu the younger for it. If you find nothing with him, then you should go before Heru Nefer. All right. It is he who can give you the uncultivated land. So now if we accept what we think we know about, compost and silt and all that stuff. Thank you, Yuri. About compost and silt and all that stuff. Well, we know now what they might not have known about what mitozoa and all these little things is in the soil that make it thrive, so to speak. We do say that they knew that these fields were arable, right? And they called them ahet. So now let's look at how they address, well, uncultivated and unarable is two different things. By cultivated, they use the term sakah, which had a tool that a man would sow seed into the ground. So then here, by uncultivated, it means the area that you didn't put seed into. All right, thank you for saying something in the chat. It says, it is he who can give you the uncultivated land of Chep-Esit. All right. Behold, when I came here south, you already listed for me rent of 3/4 acres and underground barley alone. Be very careful and beware cheating even a sack of underground barley. So you're like, don't try to hustle nobody out that barley. Do not work with the subsoil. All right, now. Do not work with the subsoil barley. Subsoil barley. Kemet ain't over there nowhere? Man. All right, if they grew the barley, they grew it in the black silt, right? I'm just saying, I'm trying to say how, this is why I'm not doing more than I'm doing. I'm just showing you that you don't find no references to that even when they talking about agriculture. The subsoil barley belonging to it. For you have already damaged the least that belongs to me, and that there is only the subsoil barley and its seed. So I'm looking over here with its seed and I'm reading it and I'm trying to see what they're using for subsoil. So this is subsoil, it appears. It appears. Let me see. No, this is the Lower Egyptian barley. Okay, cool. So where's, I gotta find subsoil in area belonging to Hereniti Shemer Ek. Shemer in Ek. How are they saying? How are they saying subsoil? So basically, they defining this whole world, this whole I think they, I don't know about that word. I don't see it in the ancient Egyptian. And so for subsoil, they probably mean in this Lower Egyptian barley. Okay, cool. Let's see if that always happens. Yeah, it's attached to the word barley. So every time we click this word right here, that's for Lower Egyptian. That don't mean subsoil. All right. These are the things. I don't know, Joe. Peace to you, Joe. I don't know what loam is. That's not a bad field yet because 4/4 of acres will ideally produce 100 sacks of underground barley. Now they say underground barley. See, told you. All right, so be very, oh, dang. Let me see if I can go back. It was about be very careful. Oh, I had to come all the way back here. Give me a second to find it. Do not work with artists on this next one. Page 3. We're just reading the agricultural soil to see what they say to do with all this Kemet, this black soil. Then we're going to go look back at the red land. I was looking at that this morning too. Be very careful and beware of being too bold with even a bushel of barley from the earth. All right, so that's from the Kemet then, I guess, huh? Let's go see. No. But you want to see where it's from? All right, so the bushel of barley. So that's what I'm saying. Y'all can look over at the Meta Nature and y'all can look for the words that y'all know for earth in all of these. And then we already identified the bushel of barley, right? So this is still the lower Egyptian barley right here, which is, if you look over here, it is still right here, right? So after that, all I see is MX. Where and they go to year. This is not a year. So that N is negation of the year. So where's this earth? That's not earth, that's there. See? That's there. So there belonging to, see, belonging to. Now, where is that? There belonging to, this the barley, NX, MX. So NX is one thing, MX would possibly, I wish I could see the glyphs, but I think this MX is just simply in me? I mean, in you. See, that's in you. You feel me? So I don't understand it. How they just said, but anyway, ain't no earth right there. We could keep going. Furthermore, as for that Hittites, son or whatever, Hittites, as for all that Hittite son naked wants to do for me in Perha, behold, I did not at first calculate for him any income as surplus beyond 1 month as a sack of underground barley. But now I've calculated another second allotment of underground barley, namely 5 bushels for his family on the first day of the month. Behold, if you exceed this in measure, then I will charge you with theft. So all right, they is doing real cultivation, they doing their real farming thing, but you can read the story on as they talk about going into and doing the job. All right, now we got a reference for this real earth. Are you not well enough eating good barley while I am on the earth? But that's not a reference to him farming. He's literally talking about ta, the word we use for earth. You know what I'm saying? I just got an idea. Hold up. I'm gonna put this on the other screen and open the YouTube just so I can monitor it instead of looking at my other thing. Because they've been having me boosty. There we go. I can do it like this. You know what I'm saying? All right, cool. Yeah, that's good for me. That way I can just monitor the YouTube stream. All right, now let me get back to that. Smash. Some Kemet are shown with sky, earth, water. Cat, are you looking at N23 and N? Oh. What are you talking about? So you talking about some attestations of, no, yeah, I have looked at those. I got them right on my screen. I got the ones with N23 and N36, and you can read it. I can skip to that. I could get to that faster than I can finish this sentence, out 12. Like the shit you trying to tell me to reference, bow. Sentence ain't finished. Here we are. Like, stop playing with me, bruh. Shit you can't read, or read it. And tell me the connotation of this got something to do with agriculture. This the one with N36. The other one is N23. See? I'll pull up the one with N23 just that quick. Or should I go the other way? I'm going to go the other way. This is the first account of the black land and the red land. But if I went the other way in my photos, it'll go like this. It's right here somewhere. Shit. There you go. With the canal, here we go. None of these, now let's just, you could go, we could just read this. You don't even have to take my word for it because this got English on the side, right? Now, I want you to notice something over here. And this is why I like this attestation, because this proves what I said. Dang, did it switch on me? This is the one you were saying I should go possibly look at. I'm like, stop playing, bro. Who you think new in the crowd? Everybody know I've been looked at this shit. So hold on, let me show you. Sorry I keep doing what it's doing, or maybe that's me. But when I tried to zoom in on it, it popped over to a different text. I'm just kind of sloppy right now. Let me see. Let me find that thing again. And then we can read it. And you can tell me, oh, since it got that canal on there, that this text now is talking about agriculture. Man, y'all don't be knowing how to read the glyphs. Here we go. This is N36. Let me show the people what we're talking about. Right? I should be able to. Dang, this ain't the right snip thing. Maybe if I go into the editor. Forget it. Right here, y'all see my mouse? Okay. Now, what you see first, SOT 12, you see what might look like Tepta, but it's actually Tepita. It's probably Tepita, right? Yeah, I have covered these instances. I'm telling you right now, nothing in this sentence is about agriculture. I'm about to read it for you, right? So I see Tepita, then I see Nuke, which would probably be Anouk, and then I see that stork behind it. I don't know which bird that is right now, but it looked to me like Bennu. You know what I'm saying? And I know y'all see it too. And then it's all scratched out up here. I can make it bigger so we can all just get it in. I don't know which bird this is, right? And then this is broken all off. And then you probably see a Ma'in Maret. Ma'in Maret. You see that? You see that, South 12? Ma'in Maret, right? Now you see Nuke again. And then you see these offerings being given, or what we call parkuru, right? Offerings being given, but it says parkuru E. I mean, it says parkuru. It got the bread, the beer, the bread, or whatever, and then it got 2 reed leaves and something that looks like a SH. If that's not a SH, then I don't know why he wrote it like this. And then we got NF as in, this is like a dative saying to me, or to him. To him. So these is offerings being given to him, whoever obviously is Mena who they giving the offerings to, right? So you can find this offering right here on, when you see Parkru, you know it is the coming forth of the voice. And this is a verbal offering happening here. Ain't nothing about the damn silt or the land or the soil, right? This is an offering. And whatever, I see 2 reed leaves and an S. I don't know what, yes, I don't know what yes is, but people read in the crowd and they can help us out. Now, but this is dative here. The grammar for this, you see an NF, so that means to him. So these is basically the offerings to him. Now this is a broken off section I can't even attempt to read. We could come back right here with Mer. This is the overseer, okay? Mer, you see that? M-R. This is not M and then an R. This is, well, let's see what they say. I say it's the overseer. Yeah, Vorshir, that's the overseer. Yeah, that's an overseer in German. But y'all all know the M and the R is an overseer, correct? Now, if it's not an overseer, go look up the word, what you call it in German. How does it keep doing that to me? It went to the next text, maybe because I clicked on that side of the screen. Stop making it go to the next picture, man. So we just stopped in the middle of the teaching and started reading this for Sot 12, since he act like he be looking at this type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Now, you show me how in this text, this guy, just because they're using this in 36, that this is a reference to now Black Silt. So overseer, now, how you want to do this? Because it's kind of crazy. All the black land, all the black agricultural area, all the black irrigable land. I'm saying, how you trying to do that? I wouldn't mind a lot of those. I'm just keeping it a buck. I don't like when y'all try to redefine the whole entire word right here by finding one or two at the stations with this. But how would you like this defined, Sot 12? That's what I'm saying. Because you see, if we are, let me show people with the dictionary. Because when I use the dictionary, then people know I just ain't making stuff up. When I said we see overseer, this is what I'm showing y'all. Y'all gonna see. Now when I put an F, right? When I put a, let me see. I'm just gonna type overseer, O-V-E-R-S-E-E-R. Man, why they don't got nothing for that? I'm gonna put oversee. Well, now I just have to put M-R and you'll see it. So all of these administrators are overseers, and you got the MR, right? But you don't see it there, so I got to get to the one where you can actually see it. Everybody know. I mean, a lot of people who watch the show know this, but a lot don't, so it's good to show people stuff. So let's go back. There go your canal glyph right here. The same one we've been talking about, right? And it is used right here to say a pasture or a garden. Now, let's not be confused, and I don't want to confuse the people. This is when it is being used as a word. Now, I got one of these instances where we got to talk about the grammar of the meta nature, because I wanted to ask, was the determinative being used as a word, right? But nevertheless, gardens are normally green and pastures are also, but they're talking about just how this relates to the irrigation of a pasture, because this MR in some terms is related to water. But this ain't the one we was looking for. I just want to stop and show you how you can find other uses of this N36. Let's verify that. See that, y'all? How you got other uses of this N36 right here that don't even got nothing to do with nothing y'all talking about at all. Like, how could you say that this N36 glyph is used here to say will, a wish, or a desire, and you can verify that that's not what they talking about on the text right here? That's the same thing y'all did with the word Kemet. But let's keep going on so that the people can see the one that we're talking about. So it's all these different renditions of MR that you're seeing. But the one you need to see is with the bird. There you go. See, let's go back. With the bird and the R. But then you'll clearly see where it gets the overseer. And let's see if I can make it say that. MR. Well, I don't know why I don't say overseer, but whatever. I ain't gonna go too far showing that. If you don't believe it, then I can show you later. Because it seems like I went through hell of them, right? So let's go back. This is the reason why, okay? That's the reason why some say that Kemet mean a canal. Oh, if you find it with the N23, then it must have been a canal or a harbor or something. I'm not, okay. But I just want us to note certain things. Like they got both of the glyphs together right here, N36 and N23. Right? They also got them both together right here, and it don't mean nothing about that. Check game though. This word is Meru, written with an N36 and N23. The determinatives are two people. So the glyphs that the word are written with don't really mean nothing. What you should be looking at is the determinatives. Now we know they're talking about people. Okay, somebody said put Mer to find overseer. M-E, for real? I don't know. I just typed overseer. It was like I spelled it wrong. Overseer. It ain't even popping up like that in the whole book. But everybody know, I mean, y'all know, and if people don't know, that's what that is right here. This word right here. So now this is what I'm trying to say. Because now we got a neb after this and a neb after this. So these nebs afterward indicate all of the noun before it. So he's the overseer of all the black and all the red. Now, if this is how Site 12 wanted, all of the black and then agricultural area and the red hilly desert land. I'm not in the furthest opposition to that reading of this. But you got to understand that is not what I was scrutinizing when we first started reading it. Remember, we're reading the context of the passage to see if the passage has to do with agriculture. Not how we've been trained to translate this word in that regard. But I would just translate it as overseer of the black, all the black. Now, people will say, well, you can't say community here. You can't say land here. I'm going to show you something about N36. It raised just hella questions. That glyph we looking at. I've done this. I've looked at this hella times. Right? I think that German right there said overseer. It says something like vor. I can spell it out for you and we can put it in there. But what I was about to look up real quick. Damn. Oh, N36. Look. Watch this. And it's kind of like why we don't want to be confused by how determinatives are used. And we be saying because we find a determinative used, right, that way one time, that means it means whatever. So All right, let's just look at this right here. Y'all see those three N36s on the superintendent of the marshlands? I just want us to note that before we look at the next one, which is the head of the weaving mill. Next is the leader of the pasture, right? Now, note this one right here. Because if we come back to what we was reading, this is MER, but it don't got Kemet in the middle. And it's a leader of the pasture. Yes, I went past. Yeah, I did. They do got something to do with water. I didn't think nothing of that because we know that that glyph has something to do with water. But these are words for water. The first one actually got water in it. Everybody know that MR is attached to water. I'm here to show instances where it ain't, not where it is. So that's where I'm looking. You see what I'm saying? And so I wanted to do this pasture have something to do with water. In a sense that if it's a green pasture, it would have to have something to do with water. But when you're saying a pasture, you're not really indicating water. But it's going to get kind of crazy the more we keep on going and look at that same glyph. We also got to look at the position that it is in over here when we scrutinize the term. Because like head of the Meret people is just being used to say mer. Right? These guys talking about happy, just some personal names. All right, look, the yield of the Nile, right? And we still see it in 36 and also the 3 strokes, which lets us know they're talking about water. To flood, right? Again, I just start pointing out these instances because 12 said I was skipping over. I wasn't coming to show instances of what we know it's related to. I was coming to show instances of what we don't know are related to, like dogs pulling the sun ship. Again, the position of these glyphs are in the front, so they're not for us to determine. The dogs are in the back, so we determine that here they're talking about dogs. So this isn't the best use case. You want to find ones where it is in the determinative position and speaking about other things than water. Like these, and I don't know what plus is, but it's a Semitic loan word. More? Interesting. A body of water or a place name. All right. Ani or any. Let me see. I know, but I want to look for certain attestations. Administrator of the settlement, property manager of the stars, star of Horus, administrator of the Duat. All these all got the N36 in them, but they appear to be in this word being used for administrator. Like, because look at this, this is a crazy ass term. If you look at this is what I'm talking about. It got a fish. Don't do this, but I'm just looking. Then it got the canal, which represents water. Then it got the hills, which represent dry, arable land. But all of those aren't given, aren't in. The only one I see is the mer. I don't know a fish to be odd, but whatever. estate manager of the depth. All right, so here we go. Now we're starting to get there. So, what is this going on right here? You would think it was a priest of the fish hopping out the water or something. This is some type of a priest. I guess it's Ptolemaic lexicon. The overwhelming amount of attestations and use cases you see for that N23 is showing lake, river, water, body of water. That's not new information. I wanted to see what are the use cases when it's not. You see what I'm saying? A farm building. Oh, that's the name. It's being used as a name. Let me see. Oh, Smash, you already showed this. Oh, I ain't tripping. I'm looking just studying. You feel me? So that the claims can be sharp. What do you think this is right here? I'm gonna pop it in the pasture or grazing land in English. Let me see. Myrrh. You should look, people. We should look this lemma up right here, because that's kind of hurting cats too. Let me see. Relatives, household members. So I only seen like one or two instances when it was in a determinate position where it wasn't referring back to nothing like about water or whatever. Like this. Look at this. What does this say? Body of water. You feel me? That's what lead people to come to these erroneous conclusions. A reference to the mouth of the Nile. Now this is kind of crazy, but you got to see that you might want to look at some of the concepts about heaven in ancient Egypt, but a reference to the heavens. Low flood. Let me see. I can't translate all these German terms. If it ain't translated by itself, I gotta just skip over them. So I had not seen, like I said earlier, I hadn't seen too many of them where it was in a determinative position and it wasn't referring to something that had to do with water. Right? Just a couple. And you normally try to, I understand that people try to go with abundance. Because if you're trying to go with 2 or 3 attestations like people be doing sometimes, you might mess that up. All right, so what was we looking at? Let me see. Well, I forgot what I was even looking at first. But the overwhelming, it's like overwhelming the use cases of those. And so that makes some to come to this and form a conclusion and say, look, they're talking about a body of water. They said over here, so what they did was say fruit land. See that right there? And then I guess, I don't know how to say desert, but that's not hinterland. Overseer of the. So how do you translate? I asked earlier, how is this being translated, South 12? Just so we can know. Overseer of the what? I told you, man. I said of the black, all black, and the all. You can say the desert if you want. But if anybody got the way that they translate that, let me know. Let's look at the other one. It got N23 with it. And this is going to be, it's just like the other one when you look at it. First, let's remember the research question. What is this passage talking about? That's why Candace, is this passage talking about agriculture? Just look to the right. You can read it because this is in English. One thing to point out, I want to trip off is when those who are in Egypt hear it, and the people who are in Kemet. Damn, blood, y'all gotta stop tripping. Do y'all see that? So they even know that in the first I'm hopping around different things that we be proving, and I don't want nobody to get confused. This right here attests to when he knew this. Whoever wrote this, which was Adolf Armand, I think, he knew that Egypt and Kemet was two different things right here. What he calls Egypt is on the screen, underlined, and what he calls Kemet is on the screen, and it has the N23. So what the scholar is saying is, okay, Tamari, we're going to translate Tamari as Egypt, and I'm going to leave Kemet as Kemet, KMT. He didn't even translate that, and then just said south and north. But what we can see is, and their heads are on the ground, and they praise beauty of the majesty forever and ever. This ain't about agriculture either. So that's why I was like, these attestations that they're using to say, look, N23, that because they used the N23 and mean Kemet is about agriculture in these only two attestations. Then there's it was a dude named Sot 12 who said he had a source who lied about page 63 on a book that said it was hella more of these. And never came back with the source, and thought we was gonna forget. Let me see. I hadn't even got through this whole story. I'm just talking. I just want to read where they going into the ground. Like, look, and after tilling the ground, you shall send him for me. It's funny. It's funny when you look through the meta nature and you click into all the words, you can see what they're adding. So it says to go away, to lead, to send out, right? So it's like you send out to me. That's just say you send out to me. Su, resu, set. I don't see nothing about tilling the ground. Let me see. After. Oh, this might be tilling the ground. Okay, yep. After you plow. Okay, cool. They just put sec instead of saka. Okay, so after tilling the ground. So they just switched this sentence around. So after, they don't even say the ground, they just say to plow or to cultivate. Have him bring me 3 sacks of wheat, along with whatever Lower Egyptian barley you can find, but only if there's a surplus of your income until you reach the summertime. Neglect nothing of all that I have written to you. Behold, this is a year when a man works for his master, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to read it all. Here we go. Let's see this. But now, as for my affairs in the district, all the affairs of my irrigated district, his irrigated district in Sinwi, I have planted it with flax. So what is his irrigated district over here? It just say it's a pot, bruh. Are they putting too much on it? My Sapat. Let me see. This is the affair. This is talking about the affairs in his Sapat. Look, affairs. All affairs in my Sapat. Known district. Notice how they put the word irrigated in there. I'm just tripping off that. I'm not mad at that, but I'm just tripping off that. So my Sapat. Is it this the word that was there? No. I have planted it. I want to see this. Yeah, I don't know how they doing all that. It, flax. It with flax. All right. Work, do, I do it with flax. I planted it with flax. All right. It just say I did it with flax. Well, yeah. Don't let no human being descend upon it. But if anyone speaks to you, you shall go away because of it. You shall now cultivate this irrigated area. I'm sorry, but what we learned so far is there's no references to the black soil or silt as we would think there would be, at least in this one agricultural lesson. You know what I'm saying? And the only reference we do find to it, I can spoil it right now for you and tell you it's not in an agricultural. It's not in an agricultural tell. When they talk about black silt by that name, black soil, Amat Kemet, it is a medical remedy for a burn. All right? Somebody gonna do malice against his concubine? Damn. Amat Kemet. Y'all want to look that up? Nah, because it's hell of these. Let's go back and show you where I started from. I got too many TLA pages open on my computer. But let's go back. Let's go back. It's sad because you can go through the word Kemet by its, you can just search that word and read everything they have in the ancient Egyptian text corpus about the word Kemet, right? And nothing's going to be about agriculture. Like, it ain't nothing about no agriculture. So I'm not saying the agriculture, I'm saying the use of this to make you think they were saying black because of the soil. It started to fall apart. Okay, so yeah, now we back to happy, right? These are attestations to Hap, as we see here in the square box. Happy is the god of the Nile flood. And so in this, we can find agricultural tales pertaining to the flood and see, you see what I'm saying? What's up with what they thought about the powers of the flood and the mud or what have you, if anything pops up, right? So sometimes I just skim through them to see how they using more than the flood of the Nile, who emerged from the Nile, where the flood give you a sacrifice so that you may eat with his mouth. What do you take from that? All right, Yerrick want me to go to page 7 halfway down. All right, you must have did this research already. Let me see, page 7 halfway down, arrows up. Let me see. And you're going to know when you stop when you start seeing green. Hold on, let's see green. Osiris stretches out his arm over her who illuminates the Nile in his hidden place. Is your name. I have opened Happy's Nile's grottos, whatever those is. I don't know. I'm gonna try to find it. Tell me where to stop. Oh yeah, here we go, right here. I know why you sent me right here. Now, we told y'all this a long time ago, and Plutarch said it too. Y'all don't remember what Plutarch said? Plutarch said, all right, Plutarch said, may you grant me water that I may drink from the flood as you did that, as you did for that great God to whom the Nile came, for whom vegetables were produced, for whom green plants grew, who, being content, gives the same to the gods at his departure. As we was telling people, ancient Egyptians, and as told by Plutarch, ancient Egyptians had a perspective that the life-giving properties came from moisture and things that are wet. So instead of thanking the silt, the black silt, they don't thank the black silt for vegetables. As you see in front of your face, they're not thanking the black silt for the vegetables. They're thanking the moisture of the Nile flood. May you cause the Nile to come to me so that I may have green plants. Very interesting. We about to click into this. They skipping all over the black skip. Man, maybe some Egyptologists just made that stuff up. For real. I wish I had that clip. Carrie Cooney talking about it was Kemet because of all the magical stuff that was growing. May you grant me water that I may drink from the flood, as you did for the great God to whom the Nile came, for whom vegetables were produced, for whom green plants grew, who, being content, gives the same to the gods on his departure. May you cause the Nile to come to me so that I may have green plants. So they was doing hydroponics, says Auto Group. You don't even need silt to grow vegetables. You need the water. They knew about hydroponics, man. I am your natural son forever, from in the justified, to recite, sight yellow color, sight of Chur-aha. It says, oh, the place of Chur-aha, which keeps the Nile from Busiris, which causes the Nile to come measured into the Cha measure, which guides it into the mouth of the eater, which gives divine offerings to the gods and funeral offerings to the transfigured. The snake is found in Elephantine Springs at the source of the Nile. He comes with the water. Man, why they ain't talking about the silt? I thought they was tripping that all this silt that the water was gonna bring. Why don't it say, this silt? Ooh, man, y'all got tricked out of the blackness that they was talking about. He comes with the water. He stands by the precinct of Chur-aha, by the college above the flood. I would love to see what word they translated for college. Let's look over here. It's even better. So he stands. They're saying by with this right here. This is he stands relative to, relative to, regarding, or relative to, I don't know this term. He stands relative to the part or the administrative district, Chewy. Oh, they said Chur-aha. But it looked like it's called Chewy. All right, so he's standing there, right? What he gonna do? I want to see by the college. Now this is belonging to, or belonging to. Oh, this is a fighting school? Because this say, Chur-aha is a place, and they're calling it a college. So let's see if this was some school or something. Babylon, Old Cairo, the battleground. See, they didn't say nothing about a battleground. They called it a school or a college. That's why you gotta look. It don't say nothing about a battleground over here. That's why sometimes you gotta look at these translations if you could go into the meta. But all right. All right. Yeah. College above the floor, open the channels to me, open your hidden waters. May I have water? I wanted to say for my black suit, may I be content through the flood, may I eat grain, may I be satisfied with your food. Raise me up so that my heart may be great, being like that of the God who dwells in Chur-aha. Let your sacrifices be prepared for me as I am perfect by the effluence that came to Osiris, excuse me. I will never be free of him. All well that ends well. All right, so that was hella funny. because they damn sure don't want no silk. Now, you want me to show you what they want silk for? Sit down, look, and learn, Side 12. Stop talking in class, bruh. I'm showing you what you need to see. If you come to the text corpus, look, this is hella easy to work. You come here, you click search, right? You're going to search by lemma, hieroglyphic. In the transliteration, it's good if you know manual decodage. But for this word, you probably put a. See, I guess I got it like either a lowercase a, a M, a uppercase A, and a T. And let's see if that works. That might not be it. That ain't it. So maybe 2 lowercase a's. I just was looking at what I had put in here before. Let's try 2 lowercase a's. And if that don't do it, I'll be mad. Damn, how did I pull it up then? Oh, all right. I'm going to do it hella easy. Hold on, just real quick. I just had to go to English because that's cheating. Well, I do know the term is going to pop right back up in your face, right? Let me see. I want to get the actual word you want, though. Damn. Man, hold on. Oh, I'm tripping. Aha, I had to sneak it up on them. See, when I put mud in there, I found it. Now, the reason why I couldn't get this amat for y'all, it was because of these 2 characters that I can't put in there. It can't put into my computer. But I want y'all to see something. So you can get a checkmate across the chin. First of all, think about Egypt. Ain't no such thing as mud, period, without the Nile. How you gonna get mud? Well, you could go, they seen mud probably up in the Mediterranean. But if it wasn't for the outflow of the Nile, they wouldn't even see mud in the Delta. See? So let's deal with this slow. It says Nile mud. But somebody gonna say, hold on. Now mud ain't silt. But a muddy ground as a result of the Nile, and then the definition also is carried now mud and grease and clay. Mud in Egypt is what we're talking about. Well, let's think about it. This isn't mandated that this mud is black, though. Because if you go to the 7 attestations that you will find, they're going to tell you, now here it go, right here, Nile silt. So now you have to be quiet. Hush your lips. Hush your mouth. Nile silt. Do you see? Slippery substance. Nile silt. So now you know how to say Nile silt. It's not Kemet. It's a mot. But watch this. We're going to prove it even further. Beyond the shadow of it. Because like I told you, here go another thing to trip off of this. The use of this is never agricultural. It's only in here 7 times. Look, what does it say first? Medical text. Man, they've been lying to people so that you could think that you know what the blackness of Black Egypt is all about. Both her feet and legs are rubbed with amat until she becomes healthy. This is a gynecological papyrus, believe it or not. So somebody had some issues and they had to rub black silk in their private parts, on her feet and on her legs. So now, if you was in Kemet and you go back in time and you see some mud on them feet and them good legs, you know some gynecological issues, you get up out of there. Medical text from Senrosette II. Uh-oh, it's over. So now, this is what I need you guys to see, that you shouldn't let the fraudsters, and for today, Sot 12 ain't always a fraudster, but today he in the fraudster group. Fraudsters like Sot 12 in the chat, you shouldn't let them act like they know anything. Because I just showed you this. First, you can rub the amat on her feet and her legs, but it don't necessarily got to be black. But down here, what does this say? Black mud. The same word amat is still there, but there is an adjective amended onto it, kemet, with a hair determinative. Amat kemet, black mud, 2 words. 1 word means black, kemet means black, and amat means mud. Yeah, I had to add him to the frost today, you feel me? He be cool some days, but he going crazy today. But every day is a new day. Amat kemet, amat kemet. Don't get that out your head. Don't let that leave. Let's click into this text and see why they needed amat kemet. Didn't I tell you it was a remedy for a burn? Let me go back. Schwarzer Schlam. Black mud. Checkmate. How could they be allowed to go past this? How come no matter what they saying, you don't just say, but hold on, let me show you a clip of him showing that black mud is 2 words, just like amat kemet. So amat is the mud. Kemet is just the black. If you don't got amat, you ain't talking about the mud. Now here, medical text, peppers. I don't know what peppers means here. A remedy for burns, okay? During the time of Amenhotep I. You want to go into it, they're going to tell you, bruh, man, she got burned like that? Oh, that's messed up. Put the black mud on her. Beginning the remedy for burns. What to do on the first day? Black mud. I thought you were supposed to be planting some seeds in the soil. The only attestation where they talking about the black silt is to rub on the lady leg when she got burnt. Amen. Remedy for burns. What to do on the first day? Black mud be given to it. What to do on the second day? Sheep droppings. So you can try this if you want. It probably ain't gonna work. But I know you don't want no black silt for nothing else, for some burns, bruh. And it's only one time in the text corpus. But it was in a medical book, so everybody who got burnt probably was rubbing the black silt on them. You cannot argue beyond this. If you let somebody argue beyond that, you just doing it for fun. It's clearly evident that when they wanted to say black silt, now, here goes something that's hella funny. They got a question mark and they're questioning whether there's an N23 or canal glyph on this word or not. But nevertheless, they seem to know for certain that there's a D3 hair glyph on Kemet. Now, this is something else I want you to trip off. I want to go back to the beginning because it's only 7 of these. Why is there only 7 attestations in the ancient Egyptian text corpus talking about the magical Kerikuni now silk? I thought it was magical. The now Silt ain't got no God. But the water do. The water got a God. Happy. The now Silt ain't got no God. They gave everything a nature. You don't like me saying gods? Okay. They gave everything a nature. Bruh, silly stuff got natures. Your stomach intestines got a nature. And it's probably named the same thing. Who is the god of your stomach intestines at the time that you become Sneak? He's one of the sons of Happy. One of the sons of Horus. So they got all these natures, and Karakuni thought the black Silt was magical. And she told that to some black people to explain them why Kemet don't mean nothing about the black people. Because they thought this Silt was magical. You just put stuff in it and it just grows. I will. I'm going to go to the first and third page with this Amat, but check this out. Grease, clay, now mud. I want them to see that this is now Silt here, so that when I click into the 7 attestations, that the only ones they got, I want y'all to ask yourself, let's do a quick survey. Remember, it was magical. Black people were so crazy that it would have only been magical for one season, even if it was magical. When it happened next year at the same time, it's still magical. But check this out. It's only 7. It's like the NBA Finals. It's only 7 games to play here, right? If 4 of them are positive, they win. If 4 of them are negative, we win. First of all, they got an NBA Finals worth of sources. Only 7. They only talked about, there's other terms, right, for the soil that we will investigate, but they're just so not as plentiful as you would think when some shit is insignificant. Right? All right, let me ask you something. Big U in jail, they trying to give him 600 years. I know it sounds different, right? And you go through his FBI files, you ain't gonna find the black Silt in there either. Because it's insignificant. Unless he had a marijuana operation where they was going to get some compost and it finally wound up in his files. So everything that is really important about them trying to indict Big U is in the files. Same thing with the text corpus. Most matters of importance to the ancient Egyptians can be found within the text corpus. Ain't no way to get around that. So if you don't find it in there, it wasn't that important. Now, we're going to do this NBA Finals. If 7, they trying to play with him, give him 600 years on some, they're trying to give him 600 years on some, because he was down with the rolling 60s. They just like playing with people like that. But let's stay on focus. We're gonna do positive and negative just to see. Both her feet and legs were rubbed with mud or clay until she becomes healthy. In the first attestation, we have a negative occurrence, a gynecological issue, which is addressed by rubbing mud or clay on it as a medical remedy. So in this attestation, the amat, the mud, could be considered a positive thing because it is a medical remedy. So that's 1 point for the positives. And the second one is the same thing, black mud being rubbed on a burn. The burn was negative, but you came to somebody who supposedly had a remedy for you. So that's 2 positives about the Amat. All right. Here are number 3. The team of oxen you brought to plow has fallen into the Amat. Uh-oh. Here come the comeback. Y'all thought the NBA playoffs of Tex Corpus was going to be quick and easy, a sweep. We got 2 attestations where it appears that they're using this mud in a pot with a positive connotation as a remedy for medical issues. But when you come to the third one, a team of oxen you brought to plow has fallen into the mud. They fell into the Amat. So let me ask you a question. If they fell into the Amat, I don't think this was a positive attestation to the mud. If you read this one, it's going to make you laugh. It's called The Misadventures of a Farmer. I'm going into this one right now. Blood, they be hella mad about the Mott. They be like, bruh, that stupid ass black Silt, man. They be like, bruh, don't even go no place close to that dumb ass black Silt. You gonna look hella bummy. Falling into the mud is not good. It's something an ancient person would want to avoid. And if the mud would become so cumbersome that all of your I don't know if the word would be cumbersome, but that all of your oxen could fall into it. Check this out. Practice. All right, I started laughing because everything ain't funny, but I often amused by what we're going through. This dude was trying to convince, in ancient times, one of his underlings to learn how to write. And he was telling him, yo, learn how to write. Right? And then his threat is like, if you don't learn how to write, you're going to be out there in that damn silt all day, in that mud all day. Think I'm playing? Watch this. This is only 2 pages. Hold on. What's up? I thought I heard my dog. It says, practice the writing profession, right? So this is good knowledge, y'all. Check this out. Give it into your heart. Do not let your mind hang, or I will make you a farmer, a field man, in that you will be charged with 300 sacks of grain, in that you will be obliged to work in excess on fields. Notice you won't see Kemet over here anywhere. 2/3 of which are undergrowth. That's too much for sowing. Now that is the seed. It's plentiful, or it's numerous, the seed. It's too much for sowing. It's numerous, the seed. Your heart pumps until it is full of dust. You let seed fall into the ground. Let's go over here. Notice that Kemet ain't in here nowhere. The ground ain't Kemet. I think that is a way that you can see the ground ain't Kemet. Like the dirt, I'm sorry, get it out of your brain. Don't let nobody think I go over all of the attestations of Kemet, and you tell me one of those that can be the ground. Don't be fooled. These dudes is bums. Half of them pledged allegiance to white organizations on some Greek shit. So they might still be whatever they learned on that. For real. Hey, I don't even have to change the way I sound. The motherfuckers got scholastic voices and all kind of shit. Whoa, when you gotta stop being fooled by this shit. It's telling you right here, it's all in your face. I'm just reading the text corpus. You curl up and you say, I make it. You let seed fall into the ground. You curl up and say, I make it. You have returned to the time of estimation of the expected return to see what you have achieved. Let's see what he achieved. But you find it reddish brown, i.e. spoiled and sticking in the ground. Dang, why you didn't find it black? Golly, you can't make this stuff up, bro. I don't know what he found reddish brown and spoiled, though, but he just was coming back. He sowed his seed, right? And he was coming back to see what he had put out there. He came back, he found it reddish brown and spoiled and sticking to the ground. It hangs firmly to the rock. The team of oxen you brought to plow has fallen into the mud. The shepherd has come to receive again, and you stand rejecting from cattle of the field. The head of the cattle has come to inspect the cattle, and you are forced to say they are not here. So how bad was that mud? It must have been like quicksand, bruh. Because if you lost all your cattle because they fell into the mud, we got to get a proper concept of what the black silt was to them for real. A team of oxen you brought to plow has fallen into the mud. Amat. The shepherd has come to receive it, and you stand rejected from the cattle of the field. The head of the cattle has come to inspect the cattle, and you are forced to say, they're not here. You have been punished on the 2 cows so that their calves are removed. May you remember it. So cats get whooped and punished because they didn't let some cows fall into the black silt while they was trying to harvest, and they had a bad harvest. That don't sound like the god of the silt was with them. Let's go to the next one. Now it's about to be 2-2. First it was 2 negative, 2 positive. Now let's read this. This is a boss, bruh. This is the biggest checkmate of all. If I come to the top, it's gonna be too much reading. But I want you to get some context, right? Right? So look. I'm gonna just come to the bottom. So this is Ramses VI, right? A letter to Ramses VI about a statue coat. All right. Look. Can somebody read this to get the sentiment? Huh? I do not dip my feet in the Nile mud, nor do I stand in the dust of the harvest. I do not dip my feet in the Nile mud. Why don't people dip their feet in the Nile mud? I thought it was this beautiful thing that everybody was tripping off. As for a man, he is clay and straw. So they basically used amat in that text. As for a man, he is clay and straw. General Mariu took up a lump of clay. Those are all the attestations where they talking about amat for silt. Now, when I looked up the word mud, it gave us other. Look, you got 7 for and these are clay material for God figures. 7 that we just looked up for amat, and 3 for amet. which is another grease clay. Let's look at these three. His hands and feet are full of mud. He is like one who is in the mire. That was a bad description of him, if you want to know. I mean, that was like, look, his hands and feet is full of mud. He dirty. He found it in the mud. This is the same way Drake said he got it out the soil. This is the ancient Egyptian saying he found it in the mud. Gim Nf Su. He has found it. Let me show you this, how this means this. Look, so see, this is why I hate to confuse people, but no, this is not a pictorial language, and I'm sorry if you ever pursue those means, you're just going to be looking crazy. But what you do know is you do need to know how to address the pictures, because in order to remember what this word means, you should just look at the bird. And this bird is one of the only birds in the ancient Egyptian lexicon or what have you that is looking at the ground. You notice that? He's looking at the ground. This is the only bird that you can see both his eyes. It's certain things that you're going to learn about the glyphs that they're not going to teach you in no books. You're going to just learn them. If you see both the eyes of a bird in ancient Egyptian, it's the M bird. No matter how, sometimes they'll only show you that two eyes to let you know it's the M bird. You can't see nothing else that look like all the other birds, but on the face you can see the two eyes. It is the owl. It represents an M. Well, this bird right here, now this is why I said the pictorial. It's not a pictorial language, but you should understand the glyphs. Because this bird is, when do birds put their head to the ground? When they're looking for something. So there's two sides to looking for something. Well, I'm not talking about bury their heads in the ground. A bird bent over down is looking for something when they got their head like looking for a worm, looking for a pebble or something. Now, the opposite of looking for is to find something, I guess. Or not looking, but I'm just saying, you stop looking once you find something. So you see it say, he found it. It's from this word, and then it has an NF after it. This is called the Sejm NF form. In Sejm NF form, we know how to state it as past tense. It's not past tense, so we're going to state it as a completed action. You don't say past tense because it ain't past tense. It is a completed action, which often occurs in the past tense. Always occurs in the past tense. But this isn't a tense term grammatically. So what we see is Gim Gim in F. F is he. The N is has, because since we know that the Sejm NF form is giving us a completed action, he has found, not find or look. We know it's over. So he has found. That's why they say he found it. Now look, he has found it. This is Sue. This is the independent. Where is it independent? We're going to click into the C. This is the independent pronoun Sue. I think it is still dependent. But let's see, is it independent or dependent? It's going to tell us. It, right? It's a dependent. It is dependent. So this is the dependent pronoun Sue. So what is it dependent on? It's depending on, obviously, this clause in front of it. He has found it. Now, y'all know M means in, right? This is the M bird. You see the two eyes. M means in. What do you mean? The M bird means I in English. I in, into, for. It could be for, but it's normally in. So this is he has found it in ta. What is ta? This is a definite article. The mud. He literally found it in the mud. So you trying to say this is what y'all think I'm talking about Drake, but the concept of he got it out the mud right here. What did he find in the mud, though? He didn't find his valor and he didn't find his destiny in the mud, so it's not the same type of statement. But he found this in the mud. Thank you, Chef, for asking. So what does Kemet mean? Kemet means black. Feel me? And nothing but that. And then Dr. Jonathan Winterman said that which is black. Right? And a black city or a black community is not in reference to the ground, it's in reference to the people. As we see, they don't even talk about the ground, they don't even care about that stuff. But he found it in the mud. Y'all want to go see what he found in the mud? Click right here. What if it was his valor that he found in the mud? Like he became a boss. It says, then he spent 3 days searching for it. He didn't find it in the place. Early in the morning, he went to move through the rows of the fields, and it came with him. I'm trying to find what he lost. Many days passed, and he found the shepherd. I mean, it ain't on this page, so let's go to page 1 and see what this dude lose that he gonna find in the mud. What if it's his courage? All right, this is the beginning. To the point. Come, so that I may explain to you the nature of the farm worker, that other hard profession. Beating the brakes off people. Reggie might have told you, yeah, we got 2 different, Kemet mean black. That's what Smash say. And that's what scholars say. But come so that I may explain to you the nature of the farm worker, that other hard profession. The water is high, the shore is immense. He takes care of his tools. He spends his day preparing the tools for field cultivation. We should know this word now. It's sakah, right? It is sakah. Sakah. It says to, you can say seka, but whatever. He spends the night weaving ropes. He spends his lunch hour working as a farm laborer. Baku, that is Baku right here, right? That's going to be your Baku word right here. The farm laborer. Like any other guy, he prepares his equipment to go out into the fields. Ain't no Kemet over here. The field is watered and lies before him. All right. Ta'ayat, the field. Remember, ahet, ta'ahet, but they spelling it different. This is still ahet. A cultivated land, the field. Ain't nothing black. Ain't no, man, they ain't made that up. Let me see. Oh, we're going to get into Kemet in a minute. And he went to get a team. Many days passed as he followed the shepherd. He takes care of the team, and he came with him. He moves through the rows of the fields. Early in the morning, he went out. He did not find it in the palace. Dang, they're not telling us what he looking for. He spent 3 days searching for it. He found it in the mud, but he could not find any skins on them. Whatever he found it in the mud. But he couldn't find any skins on them. And the jackals have eaten them. He went out with his apron. Man, he came to the field. He found it just to start cultivating the field. He spent a lot of time because the worms are behind him. Oh yeah, he's definitely in the dirt, in the mud, and it ain't no Kemet popping up. He finished the seed by throwing it down. He would have had to throw it in the Kemet, Chef. If the ground, the black soil was the Kemet, why he ain't throwing it in the Kemet? Because they lied to y'all. He finished the seed by throwing it down. He couldn't see the green leaves. Now they're going to talk about the green leaves. Why not the black silt? He only succeeds by sowing 3 times. That means he literally put the seed in the ground 3 times. Nothing about black silt over here. With barley from a, you want to know why it's not? It's not the ancient Egyptians' fault. You guys are standing on a lie that European Egyptologists made up to discredit the ancient Egyptians' use of their term black. That's all that's happening. See, there's no anomaly in these texts that they're not talking about the Kemet. The shit, they didn't talk about it like that. It wasn't what the white people told y'all it meant. His wife has gone down to the merchants, but she has nothing to pay. What's she gonna do? His wife went to the merchants and got nothing to pay. I'ma leave it in the German. What y'all think she gonna do? She bet not. His wife went down to the merchants, she ain't got nothing to pay. She better have some integrity. Let's see what happens here. The official lands, the official lands, this is a Kemet over here. The official lands on the embankment, I should say that right. The official lands on the embankment, and he registered the harvest while assistants stand behind him with seb sticks and Nubians with clubs. Wow. So you trying to tell me these, man, you get the most, we get the most when we read these texts because we learn things that we not even trying to learn. First of all, his wife went down and she didn't have no money, but he didn't say nothing about his wife. The next sentence was the official lands on the embankment. So let's talk about that. The official lands on the embankment and he registers the harvest. He registers the harvest. So you know what that's doing? He must be about to take his harvest to the storehouse. Because they had a democratic process where you contribute your extra grain to the storehouse and then they would write down how much you put in the storehouse. So if you wanted to go get some other commodity, you could say, look, I got 35, whatever they was called, right? And because you put so much grain in the storehouse, you could take out other grains or spices or whatever. So when they say he registers the harvest, that's what they're talking about. And you can see that probably right here. You want to click into it? IUF, this is the word for register. IUF, to copy, to register, see? So because you see this U is starting the sentence off, so I knew to ignore this. If you notice all these U's, if you watch any of my classes, I show you some shortcuts on reading the glyphs. That's starting the sentence, this is starting the sentence, that's starting the sentence, that's starting the sentence, and so forth. So I know that everything from this U down is one long ass statement together. Everything from this U to this one. So right now, let's just go from this U to this U, right? And you see a short ass sentence. It starts with an F. So if you ever see UF, you just say he. This is this part. UF. He registers grain. See that? He registers grain. So he literally, while assistants stand behind him. Y'all want to see? Now, this is not while, because this is another statement of fact. He registers grain. Now, let's see what this word is. A doorkeeper. And this is going to be his followers, follow after. doorkeeper follow after him. See, this is him, the snake. So the doorkeeper follow after him. Let's find these Nubians with clubs. We got Kessie. What is this? Kersey. I'm sorry. To be under. I'm sorry. This is Curry. I said Kersey. Why did I say S? Curry. To be under. Shabedet. I don't know what that is. But here go them Nubians. And here go their clubs, maybe. No, hurry, that's under. So this their clubs. Sticks, see? Sticks, batons. And so it's some sticks and Nubians. Them Nubians. Now let me ask you a question. How you gonna say Nubians here? Nahesi. But was it Southerners behind them with sticks? Nubians with clubs. Southerners. This is used as a tribe of people. So sometimes I told you the Hesse had developed in a term that did indicate a tribe of people. This is one of these instances. Because it wouldn't make any sense to say Southerners with clubs. But if one says, give grain and there is none, he is torn to pieces, tied up and left at the well. He dives headfirst under while his wife stands and sits tied up in front of him. Damn. His children are in chains. His neighbors are, dang, it just got real harsh. His neighbors are leaving her. It says they flee, ending. Dang, it got gory real quick. There is no grain. If you have a mind, literally, if you have a heart and mind, be a writer. Oh, he's still trying to convince him to be a writer. I forgot. You will make your heart gladder than a farmer. Wow. So this is your word for a farmer. Now remember our word for a field, ahet. Now the TS fell off and we got A-U-T. But this is really going to be a I-O-T-U. A farmhand, those pertaining to the fields. I-O-T-U. But it might be better here. I-O-T. A cultivator, a tenant. But we can know that is that because this is one pertaining to the fields. So they're going to just say something like a farmhand. Right? You will not be learned enough to do such a thing. You're going to be too stupid. You won't be smart enough. How will you say that in the meta-netter? Ben you act. So Ben, let's talk about this. Ben is negation here. And we're going to learn a lot of different negations. Ben is a negation, meaning what follows it is negated. Now you see a you act. This is still a you, starting off a statement of fact. But notice that statement of fact has just been negated. So instead of saying you is, you saying you ain't. This is you ain't. It says you will not be. All right. You are, but they didn't use that many words. They say, ben you ek. Ek is you. Ek means you, the English word you. But this translation and transliteration, you, is an ancient Egyptian term, which is just a statement of fact. And this ben is negation. So ben you ek is you are not. Now the next word after that, y'all know this word is for knowledge, rek. So now it's like you are not smart or you are not learned, you are not knowledgeable to do him, to now we got an ear, create, to do it, or you don't know enough to do it. So they are making their, that's why they put commentary, because they'll tell you they're expanding to say, you will not be learned enough to do such a thing. And I always say we need to take our African prerogative back. He didn't say all this shit, and he wasn't trying to say, you will not be learned enough to do such a thing. I will translate this literally for you, and it's going to make perfect sense, but we're going to have to change it a little bit. Not you know regarding this is to do, to make, or create. Do it. So not you know regarding do it. You don't know enough. So it's like you don't know. Now, how is this enough? Because we got these different R prepositions that everybody only know about 2 or 3 of the R prepositions. Then read Egyptian books over and over and over again and go into the part that was intimidating at first, and you're going to see that this is a different R, right? I mean, this is a different R. This R is it's not, it is it superlative? Let's click it and see if it says superlative. Preposition, all right, look, no, they ain't even gonna explain this to you. They just got this in order to, but notice that in order to don't make no sense in this translation. So if I go into all of the R use cases, they'll tell you the different use cases that it could come from, and then you'll be able to see, but I'm not gonna do that. It's saying more than, I mean, enough. So it is a measure, it is used in a measure of his knowledge. You can't say to do it, I mean, just to do this. You do not know, you could just say to do it, fine. To do it. But then you do not know, where's the enough? You do not have enough knowledge to do it. All right, that's fine. I'm not mad at that. I'll take that back. I'll just give the T, because this R could also just mean to. And to works fine. To do it. So it don't have to be the enough. All right. They just left the enough out. You do not know to do it. So instead of saying enough, they should have said how. That's what I'm saying. You do not know to do it. You do not know how to do it. You will make your heart gladder than a farmer. You will not be learned enough to do such a thing. You don't know how to do it. Please take note of this. So you don't know how to do it, so listen to this. That's what I'm saying. You don't know how to do it, so please. See, look, you can't get what the text means in European translation. Because look, they say it says, you will not be learned enough to do such a thing. Please take note of this. No, they're not telling him to take note that he won't be learned enough. They saying, now let me read it in the African American translation vernacular. Negate it. So it's like, you don't know how to do it. Now you got, I'm going to click this to justify this for everybody. Right? So that, or so it's an ejection. Take this interjection. Oh, it is so, but we don't say, oh, But man, so that as the particle, so that, and we're going to go back to the text. You do not know how to do it, so that, what is this again? Your word, this is your word for knowledge. You know it. Please take note of this. Oh, they messed that up. This is saying so that you'll know how, basically. They basically saying, Pete, read this so you know how to do it. This say you don't know how to do it, so read this so you know how to do it. And let me explain that. We just went into this word that says so that it is ak, right? This is rek, knowledge. Ek, your knowledge, so that you know. And this is it again. Remember we looked at the dependent pronoun su, which means it. Now they saying, please take note of this. But right here it said you don't know how to do it with a different it. A F could be also, you don't know enough to do it so that you know it. So this is so that you know. Immediately following by the recommendation to become a scribe. Oh, immediately followed by a recommendation to become a writer. So that you know it, and he's giving him a recommendation. See, he said you don't know how to do it. I told you I was right. Now let me go slower so you can prove that they don't understand this correctly. Because they made this into a question. You will not be learned enough to do such a thing. Huh? And then they say, please take note of this. So he questioned him and then asked him to take note of the question. That's not what happened. What he said was, you don't know enough to do it, so that you know it. He followed it up by a recommendation to become a writer. That makes perfect sense. So he's like, so that you know it, he gonna give him this, everything it takes. It says a recommendation to become a writer. It's not necessarily instructions on how to be a writer. Nevertheless, he want him to learn all that and go through all that so he won't have to spend a life dealing with the fake black suit that don't even mean nothing to him. My daughter cooking and she got something smelling cool. You know what I'm saying? I used to throw the guilt trip on, early about cooking and only cooking for yourself. So I hope that's set in and I'm about to get me some bits. You can't just cook for yourself in my house. That's rude. Cook for everybody, right? All right, now there we go. Look, in my fields, this is another attestation. We went deep into this last one. He found it in the mud. This the next one. Verily, I have transferred him, Pi Neb in Ajed, Sir Dahudi, my field on the new land and my field on the alluvial land. Uh-oh. One of these gotta be the Kemet. One of these got to be the Kemet if you read the Sar Imhotep books. My field on the new land and my field on the alluvial land? No, the alluvial land ain't nothing but Amat. Like we told y'all, the text corpus says so, but it is Amamet. You feel me? Yeah, I'll be making sure so that if I smell something, it's all good. But it still be certain times where they be just forgetting. All right, we was gonna look at something else. I was looking at the red silt this morning, man. The red clay is a fuck. The red clay ain't. Man, I don't care about that either. Like that, I think we got it all wrong, man. So just to be clear, if you want to find now silt in here, if I put silt in here, it ain't gonna pop up. Let's put now silt. It won't pop up, but in order to find the attestations we just went over, you gotta put mud, right? So I'll just help you get to that if you want to go over yourself. You want to put soil to see if maybe I'm only probing the word. You know what I'm saying? I'm not looking at the other terms that they might use to say. None of these is going to be about no Kemet, bro. You might as well give it up. They lied to y'all. Okay? A field of farmland, soft, moist soil. Mech, what? Mechek? Mech, got. So, all right. So let's go to Kemet now, just to have some fun. We've done it 33,000 times. If y'all don't know what we're doing, I'm going to say it over and over. We're simply looking through a text corpus, an academic text corpus, kind of like how the Hebrews be looking through the Strongs. Just because it's giving you a collection is a good collection of all these texts in one place where these terms are used. So if somebody say ancient Egyptians did something, and then you go look through the text corpus and you can't find no evidence of it in their own real writings, then you can say they full of shit. They made that up. Ancient Egyptian, that's like somebody being like this right here. Remember they were saying a Kemet also means a dorsal fin. If you don't know the text corpus, you just got to listen to people like that. That was Asar too who said that. It do. Look at the screen. But what do you realize here, because you know how to use the text corpus? It ain't attested. It's verified by some scholar, but there's no attestations to that. So if you ask for a source, that person's going to be left empty-handed. So saying that Kemet also means a dorsal fin and thinking that we're supposed to entertain the KMT rendition for the black, as it might not mean the black, it might mean the dorsal fins, is just some of the worst. Like, it's just not even cool. Plus, as you see here, 375 attestations for supposedly the black land, right? And they keep putting Egypt in parentheses. Now, if we still thinking agriculturally, we look at these texts all the time, but we look at them from different angles. We just clicked into Kemet and it's taking us into one of the oldest renditions that they have into in the text corpus. And it would mislead you, and you would probably say, look, that first rendition of Kemet is about agriculture, because this story is called, in the text corpus, the prepared farmer. In Egyptology, it would be called the eloquent peasant, right? And it also has a few other names, But this first use makes him look hella stupid, because he say he's about to go down to Egypt, which is Kemet, when he's already living in what we call Kemet, but he's going there to buy food. He's going there to do transactions, right? And the funnier part is he's going to take hell of products that he grew. See, if you believe what the Egyptologists say, you having hella conflicts in your brain right now, because it's not supposed to work like that. Because the Kemet is supposed to be where you grow the stuff in the fertile now soil. But let's click into the story of y'all gotta think about hella stuff. The story says he's the prepared farmer. Let me show you where he lived. I show you all the time. Wadi Natron, right? This is where he lived. Let's get the whole Egypt. Why is you even a farmer way over there? Why ain't you in the Black Silt? Oh my gosh, the story of the eloquent farmer don't even take place no place close to no Black Silt. Now, so if this is where he lived, let's look at the products that he said he's going to take to Kemet so they could do transactions. Then look, behold, I'm about to go down to Kemet to buy food for my children. He already lived in Egypt, so this translation is stupid. He's not about to go down to Egypt. He's not a Lebanite. He's not from the Levant. How you gonna go down to Egypt and you already in Egypt? Y'all just take anything. You know how you give your dog some food, he just eat it? That's how cats be doing with the information. Behold, I am about to go down to Egypt to buy, to do transactions, food for my children. He lived right here. I gotta get y'all to understand this. Now look what he say to his wife. Go then and measure for me the barley. What you doing with barley? The barley that is in the storeroom as the remainder of yesterday's barley, i.e. the remainder of the barley that is normal stock. Let's say he went to Kemet before and got that barley already. All right, cool. So he had some barley in the storeroom because he can't grow barley in the salt flats where he lived. But what do he got? Then he measured up for him 6 bushels of barley. Now this farmer said to his wife, behold, there are 20 bushels of barley for and your children, because this is kids, the kids. I hate these translations. Let's see if he said your children for real. No, he didn't say your children. See, it says rations with children 10. 10 is going to be like our. Let's see. Let's see. It's just you. He giving it your kids. Okay, cool. It might have been her kids. Your children. Be prepared for me 6 bushels of barley, but prepare for me these 6 bushels of barley for bread and beer every day. So he basically taking 6 bushels of barley. That's what he gonna eat. But what is he gonna trade with? That's what we want to understand. Then the farmer went down to Egypt after he loaded up his donkeys. Now let's slow down. Tired of people thinking they know everything. He loaded up his donkeys with vines of rushes. We can investigate what that is, but they are vines of rushes of the yah plant. The yay plant. Oh my God, it's really the yay plant, blood. This dude was taking yay to Kemet. Y-A-A. How do you pronounce Y-A-A? Yah, yay. That's yay. Man, this fool was taking yay. Let's see right here what the yay was. A plant of the Wadi Natron. So this is hella funny. Which of the following plants is beneficial? Y'all think I'm lying? How do you pronounce this? How do you pronounce Y-A-A? You can say I-A-A. That boy was taking yah, yay. That's yay. If you got 2 A's, you gotta say A, bruh. You can't say a short vowel. People outside bike riding, I think I'm gonna see if my family wanna go on a bike ride. So he was taking yay to Kemet. Then this farmer went down to Egypt after he loaded up his donkeys with vines and rushes of the yay plant, branches of the remet, RDMT, of the red demet plant, palm. He had natron, salt, wood from the place. He had poles of farafra. I want to know what farafra is. I think that's going to be like this right here. Salt? No, that's salt. So it's after salt. That's going to be wood. So this is the farafra? What is farafra? A tree or timber, that's some more wood. So to be fair, he did take hella wood to Kemet. He had wood. They couldn't get wood. It wasn't a lot of wood in Kemet. Think about that. So he's smart. He's going to trade. He's taking wood. He had the skin of this is the skin of an animal, but I want to see what this is. Farah. I guess that's the skin of the animal. He had water. I mean, some type of water. Well, he had some plants and medicine plants. So he was being smart. He took resins, minerals, plants, and okra, rocks, oil-bearing imsa plants. Imsa plants and yenbe, or someone say yenebe plants. So I don't like Egyptology speak, and the process is me trying to inject ease in between these. I don't think that's how these words sound. But Naru birds. So he took some birds. He took plants and pigeons and birds. But he had no shortage of plants, right? Because he took wabin plants and he took tabsu thorn plants. And I think that's the Christ, the thorn of Christ plant, tabsu. Being like, well, they call it the thorn of Christ, but I guess that must have been what they made that crown out of. But that was all mythological, excuse me. Being like some other plants, he took a lot of plants and all of the good products of the Wadi Natron, right? So at least we know that much. He's gonna get robbed though. Then he went south. So stop telling me Kemet is up in the north. It ain't. You can't even play this game. If we was playing like charades or we had like a game with maps and you had to take the clues of what I'm saying and put pins on the map, you'd be led right down to the South by Thebes damn near. Then this farmer sets out on a journey south to the Heracleopolis magma. Heracleopolis magma. And Enasinia. And as he reached the district of the Perfifi, north of Medinet, he met a man of rank standing on the embankment whose name was Nimti Naki. He was the son of a man named Esri. He was a servant of the high chief. And this fool about to rob him, I'm not going to read this whole story. So when you start going down south to Kemet, it would get a little bit rowdy. And they robbed this fool. Right? And then this fool was so eloquent. He wasn't a fool. He was the eloquent peasant. But that's a slang term we say sometimes. But the eloquent peasant was so eloquent in speaking that he went to try his case, right? And when he went to go try his case, people was like, damn, bro, you hear this fool talk? Like literally, this is what this story is about. This ancient Egyptian story was about being eloquent in pleading your case, bro. Man, I'm gonna come on the big screen right now. Because cats don't even know that today. I'll be watching YouTube or I might be watching Instagram or something, and you might scroll up and you get a court case. You know that one judge, and she was like, why you come into my courtroom dressed like that? Like you got on sweatpants and you on trial. Why you coming here like that? Now, if that person would have had knowledge of this ancient Egyptian story, they already would have known something about the eloquence in pleading your case. But this eloquence wasn't about his countenance. It wasn't about how he looked. It was about how well spoken he was when Cass was trying to steal his stuff. So he got elevated through the ranks and got to the right person he needed to talk to because he was busting so well in the metal nature when pleading his case. And it's kind of like a funny story. Because they kind of like didn't even want to escalate his case up the ladder. But he was busting. So they'd be like, they'd go to the next official and be like, you got to hear this, blood, listen to this. And then dude would be telling this story, like, haven't I told this story 5 times today? Like, at the grace of my pardon, like he was just busting. I can't even speak eloquently like he probably was doing. And every time he talked, they'd be like, hold on, bro, I gotta go get robbed. And eventually they got the highest official, and they was like, bro, how you know how to talk like that? So I skipped to the end of the story. They'd be like, bro, how you know how to bust like that? He'd be like, man, I just was in the farm just busting. Just, look, all right, man, you should read the story for yourself. Oh, the wisest of men isn't only that my affair. Look, see, he's just going, oh, wisest of men. Is it only from my affair that you have no knowledge, O you who removes every distress? Behold, I am laden with sorrows. He was giving them bars. And behold, I am in your hand. May you examine me, for behold, I am in sorrow. O you who saves the weary, save me in the matters of your domain. Now this farmer came to make a request to him for the 3rd time, saying, O supreme domain master, my Lord, you are Ra, the Lord of heaven, together with your court. The need of all people is with you. You are like a flood, for you are happy, who makes the fields, marshes, and, oh, he's killing them, who makes the fields, marshes green. Did I accidentally stumble on that? Because they ain't tripping off the shit being black. But this is his eloquent bust. He was like, for you are happy, oh, who makes the fields and marshes green and reestablishes and provides the desolate hills. And I was like, what, bro? Are you saying all this in my face? You need to be the herald of the king. It says, dang, they need to fix this so I can read it. They can't fix it so I can read it. All right, it says, oh, you who must punish the robber and protect the needy, do not turn yourself into a flood of water against the supplicant. Beware that the eternity draws, beware that eternity draws near. Strive to endure as saying, dude, he was standing there busting all this, and they was like, what? You sound like the man. You feel me? So there is also some might in having the gift of gab and being a great orator. You know what I'm saying? Strive to endure as saying goes, to do my art is the breath of air for the literally of the nose. So to do my art is the breath of air for the nose. Who will punish the unjust? Behold, you are a miserable washerman who abandons his own kind. He pointing at the dude. This is the dude who robbed him, I think. Behold, you are a miserable washerman who abandons his own kind, a covetous man who is busy destroying friendships. You are a ferryman who carries across one who has fare, a sincere man who sincerely has fallen into pieces. Behold, I mean, he keeps on going. And at the end, they be like, dude, you be busting, bro. We gonna get you your shit back. Anyway, seems like I stumbled upon the end of that tale. Oh, I wasn't even sharing the screen? I thought y'all was seeing the screen with me. Well, one thing you know is the people who say Kemet means something about agriculture can't provide you no agricultural sources. They can't provide you no sources where the word Kemet is being used in any place relatively close to anything happening about agriculture. We didn't win. That's why they used to hate. Man, when you see people in the TLA all day, stay away from their page. Now they just gone. Somewhere teaching You know why? They somewhere teaching they pseudo shit in a classroom where you can't get the heat of the whole world. Somebody in that class got to be able to debunk you. Feel me? When you hop on internet saying shit, you can get shot down by somebody in Pakistan. Oh, that is not true. I have this choice right here. You get shot down by anybody, bruh. All on the whole world. So you know if I've been out here this long and the only person trying to take him away from me is like a ex-smoker who don't hold friends for over 2 years. You feel me? Nobody from 2 years ago ever around these guys. You should ask yourself, how do people be around and can't even keep an internet friend for 2 years? Go watch their videos from 2 years ago. Everybody who was in them, now they are their enemies. Crazy. Yeah, man. But when he had learned of my good character and when he had heard of my experience, which the Egyptians who were with me had testified for me, he thus spoke and said this. This is sent away somebody else. It's all good. Oh, I want to show y'all this because we're going to see if Kemet ever have anything to do with agriculture. Ever. We on page 1. Look. Behold, I'm about to go to Egypt to buy food. He was going to Kemet to buy food. That was the story we just went over. The next story we have here, the same one. That's the eloquent peasant. The next one, we're in the story of Sinaway. It says, when the Asiatics saw me, the sheiks among them who had been in Egypt recognized me. So the ones who had been in the black land recognized him. Right? But when he had learned of my good character and when he had heard of my experiences, I need some water. Which the Egyptians who were there with him had testified with me, he thus said this. Then he said to me, then Egypt will surely prosper because it knows its virtue. May the king of Egypt be gracious. All of these are Kemets. Whenever I say Egypt, the ancient Egyptian text says Kemet. Man, you won't find that word in about nothing to do with agriculture nowhere in no ancient Egyptian text corpus. 20 sailors were on it, some of Kemet's best. So when I see Egypt, I'm just going to say Kemet. So how could that happen? I might have to do a whole show on the Red Land. A whole show on the Red Land. We was talking about it, but it wasn't no whole show. Here go more making the gates of Egypt. We was talking about that yesterday. Nubian and Magi. Man, it's not one attestation in here. I looked over them, over all 375. It's not one in here with Kemet got anything to do with agriculture at all. It's all about the people, man. All right, I'm gonna do. Yeah, we did a whole show on that. If y'all got something to say, I can open up a chat. Last time they closed me down for some reason. Yeah, I'm gonna open up a chat, so I don't gotta do all the talking. I'll keep looking at stuff though. My device running low on storage. All right, I'm gonna fix that after this. Yeah, I know it's hella happies. We probably look over some more of them. I just be all over the place. I'm trying to get Side 12 up out of here. You see, he fell back because he be getting cooked. That's like the boy wonder of Ujahu or something. Ujahu's favorite student. Side 12. And then all them fools can't read glyphs no more. I dare any Seshu to come on this show. I guarantee you not one Seshu could read glyphs no more. I'm talking about the ones who was out here banging and shit. You did things for me. Please, y'all niggas can't even read glyphs no more unless you watch Smash Show because you got abandoned. So the only place that keep you up to speed is Smash Show. Feel me? I remember for like a year later, they thought they was going Cats had thought that it was gonna be some repair and get back. So they was trying to be, you know, for Lord. Oh, they didn't know what no repair and get back. We slaughter shit, bruh. You kill shit like you gotta kill it all the way. Shit don't never need to be taught in the black community. We damn sure got some shit to stop being taught in the black community. I know that much. If I ain't never got nothing to stop getting taught in the black community, it's that riparian bullshit. Got that up out of here. I like jokes. I'm a comedian on the under-indigenous. Well, one thing I did take from Dr. Sabi, he said, be sincere, but you ain't got to be always hella serious. You just got to be sincere. You see what I'm saying? That serious will make you stress out, and you will stress out, and you will get hella grades and all that shit. Be sincere. What's up? Go ahead, Joey. What's up?
What's up, man?
How you doing?
You know, you inspire me to read some of these on my channel, right?
Huh?
I said, you know, you inspire me to read some of these on my channel, right?
Oh, for real? That's cool. That's what's up. I appreciate that.
I got invited on Paradigm 15 last night, so I said I was gonna go on, but I don't know what to present.
Just gonna be you. Talk about what you want to talk about. Ain't nobody got no copyrights on this shit. Talk about what you want to talk about.
Yeah, boy. Have you been tweeting about my channel, or you haven't been watching anything?
Man, I can barely hear you, but I'll be on.
I said, have you been keeping up with my channel?
Yeah, I've been watching every once in a while. I tap in.
Yeah, you have to check that. You have to check the last 2 videos I did. I read Reggie's paper.
Oh, you read Reggie's paper?
Yeah, I did it in 5 parts.
All right, I'll check that out.
Yeah, man. You gonna see part 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you gonna see where I put together part 1 and 2.
Oh yeah, that's dope. Where
Right,
Reggie
man.
at, man? We need to get Reggie in the building. He been missing in action.
You have any? But hey, why don't you tell me one of your papers? Let me read it on my channel.
My papers, I got articles. My articles are on rapgod.wordpress.com. And there are still some I wrote like 15 years ago that are still relevant. You can check them out. And that they made up my first book, Magi, a handbook for the conscious community. I will share that link. It's rapgod.wordpress. I'm just gonna share it in the chat.
Yeah. I'll check it when I come out there. I think what's your name was trying to just one of your papers a while ago. What's your name?
What happened?
I saw Enki and Don Abba was having a debate.
Who having a debate? Who having a debate?
I said Enki and Don Abba had a debate about a year ago, and Don Abba called himself addressing something that you said.
That I said?
And then he put up a whole set of wrong hieroglyphics.
Oh yeah, he don't be knowing what he doing. I be feeling sorry for the people who use hieroglyphics in their presentation and they can't read what they're using.
No, but did you see it though? You didn't see it.
I probably seen it a year ago, but I don't recall.
Lord Abba, it was Lord Abba versus Enki. And he put up bug and put up MER and say it means myrrh.
Yeah, I know. See, he tripping because I wrote a whole article to him. I crushed him when he used to teach that. He said that in recent times.
No, what happened was a year ago, he was having a debate with Enki.
But I crushed him with that 10 years ago. 10 years ago, bro.
Right, but he was pulling up. He was trying to put up myrrh. And because he saw the mer hole in M-E earth, and he didn't know any better, he read it as mer. So he was, Tom Mary was all mistranslated, everything was wrong.
Yeah, he be doing that. A lot of people do that because they be using E.A. Wallace Budge and they be thinking they
Yeah,
know
but why
what
did
they're
they
talking
do
about.
that? Nobody didn't tell them stop
Because we
doing
be
that?
trying to tell people they don't listen to us. You know why? Because you can't make your point if you ain't using Budge. Because Budge got hella shit wrong based on some stupid Christian shit and shit. Like Budge just got shit wrong, so they be trying to make points using Budge.
Yeah, but everything that he says must be corrected.
No,
Anytime
not
anybody quotes
everything.
must be
Not
corrected.
everything at
Well,
all. So this is
well,
like it
most
worked
of the
like this
time,
though, Joey. Look, he has his own system of transliteration that nobody adopted. Particularly, he's the strongest on Egyptology speak, where he be putting E's in the middle of everything. So he don't even have a dictionary with only the vowels. I mean, he don't even have a dictionary with only the consonants. They only wrote consonants. But he takes the liberty to only provide you dictionaries with consonants and vowels, as if he figured out the whole shit.
oh, okay.
So he be having people walking around talking about noofiu. That's where all them fake words be.
What
We
does
be
that
like,
mean?
yeah,
What?
yeah, we be like, where you get that from, blood? And they be like, oh, you reading Budge. We be like, you reading Budge, bro. Like it's now he was one of the most exhaustive writers. So just because his system of transliteration was his own system, that don't mean the things that he statistically and categorically itemized are not useful for us. You see what I'm saying? That's why we like, nah, you can't throw him away. He one of the most exhaustive. But if you using his system, you tripping. You got to look
what
at
I'm
his
saying-
work using other people's system.
What I'm saying is, if you don't know Medunesa and you just picking up a dictionary, then that's where the problem comes in.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what is happening. That
You
is
must know
what's
something about
happening.
Medunesa before you read a dictionary.
Even if you know a little Meta Nature, if you be getting the most of your definitions from Egyptian dictionaries, a lot of the times ancient Egyptian is different. They don't have no working way to really know the term. So sometimes they'll define a whole term off two occurrences in the text corpus. Like the scholars only seen the term used twice. So what point of perspective did they even have to, you know what I'm saying, to say what it means? They only seen it used twice. And they'll just be having some real
Well,
good definition.
let's put this way flat. If you see something used 100 and however many times, we still know that we really don't know the meaning of 20 of those words that we find. We don't know the meaning of those.
Oh, heck no. But the 120 times is going to give you more use cases to capture the context of the term. So say if somebody said, I blanked John Owens. The blank is the word that we don't know what it means. I can't think of a word for that. I just said, I goofy John Owens, whatever, any fake word. And we trying to figure out what it means. Now, if we only got that one sentence, it's hella hard. But now we find the term in another sentence where somebody say, I blanked the hood of my car. Then we'll start to get a context of the term. How could you blank John Owens and you blank the hood of your car? And then they say, I blanked my TV. Then they say, I blanked my dog when he was angry. We would start to think that blank means hit, right?
We would think so, right?
Yeah, because we got more instances of the term to pull the context out. But if you only got one use in one instance, even two instances, I'll be like, how do they be drawing these definite definitions from only having one or two instances?
Well, listen, as I would say, your back chat is the best on the planet because in your back chat, I learned a lot. So that is how I know they have some letters that do not have a sound in English, or they have some concept that don't translate. So how do you deal with that?
Well, how do you say that?
Say it again.
Well, I don't know how that works. I thought most languages. I mean, I'm sorry. I thought most, for lack of better terms, alphabet are the letters that make up a language system, were to encompass most of the sounds that a human makes in speech. Like, can you think of any sound that can't be described with an alphabet?
No, no. What I'm saying is there's some concepts that don't translate into English.
Oh, I thought you said sounds. You said concepts?
Yes. Somebody, I was talking to somebody in the back channel, and they told me that a certain sound that I was looking for doesn't translate into English at all. They have no sound for it in English.
You said sound, or are you saying sound?
Yes.
Okay.
No, sorry.
So I don't know about that.
No. Let me use the proper word. They said there's no pronunciation for that particular.
Yeah, they're saying pronunciation. That's different. I understand that. Because they don't know the series of sounds that would make that term. But that's not saying that they have a sound in the ancient Egyptian.
I used the wrong word. I meant
yeah, you're right. I'm with you now that you changed the word. I see how that makes perfect sense.
And certain concepts and certain concepts don't exist in our culture for us to understand what they meant.
Huh.
You understand? You have no reference point. And Medunetter is unique in the way that if you don't use Medunetter, you can't say what they meant. Because the concepts are different. And it's a very different language from a lot
I don't know about that because there's no language that you have to only use that language to define what things mean, because you have to think the language was functional. So it had to be translated into Akkadian for the people who spoke Akkadian to even understand what they're talking about. So if we pointed at, say if we were merchants, we're Egyptian merchants, and we got a bucket of oranges. We're going to call those oranges what we call oranges. And when a foreign customer walks up, he's possibly going to call those oranges what he calls the oranges. We still going to do the transaction, and both of us is about to learn what, I'm going to learn what the Akkadian people call oranges, and he's going to learn what ancient Egyptians call oranges.
But remember something. That's a kind of bad example because they would have been trading with each other. So they would have had loan words. Whereas the Greeks, there was really no direct translation in terms of certain things between Greek and Medunetter.
I don't get it.
Correct. So what I'm saying is the Greeks couldn't pronounce and understand Medunetter.
No, I think it's magical. I think y'all still trying to attribute magical properties to the Medunetter and be like it can't be translated into another language. It would not be functional as its own language if it could not be translated. So I'm saying, just think about it. Let's think about what languages.
I'm saying this right. If I'm a Greek, I'm going to pronounce the things a certain way, and then I come and I'm trying to use Medunetter. Sometimes there's just no equivalent for words in between Greek and Medunetter.
I think you guys could say that all day, but you couldn't prove it. You can't find a Medunetter word that there's not a Greek equivalent. So that's simple to do. You can say, okay, I'm gonna give you an example. People say Neteru, and then they say, oh, that don't mean gods. And then when I say, well, what do it mean? They use a series of Greek words and concepts to describe what it do mean. They say it means an element of nature. You still using English. And you just made a series of words, an element of nature. It's not a god. Okay, but an element of nature didn't get out of Europeanism. You still using English to describe an ancient Egyptian concept.
Yeah, but it's not our fault. It's not our fault that English comes from Greek and Latin.
But we're trying to pinpoint what you said at first, that there are some concepts in ancient Egyptian that couldn't go into other languages. How could they work? If they couldn't go into other languages, then they wouldn't be functional in their own language.
Let me explain. Sometimes when you're talking wrong, and you say something in Medunetter, right? And you try to explain that in English, you don't have the conceptualization of what they mean. You really don't know.
No,
Just
I
like
don't agree with that. I know that's a way of looking at it, but a lot of people who believe that, but they can't prove it. Like I can prove when I say the ancient Egyptian word for a cup, that, and then I say the English word for a cup, that those concepts are both captured you know, it translated from ancient Egyptian, and now I'm picking up a cup, and the ancient Egyptian dude nods his head yes because I picked up the right thing out of my cabinets, because you know what I'm saying. So now you saying that there's some words to where we don't have no equivalent. I'm not saying that's not true, but I think that would be based on society, certain things being extant or non-existent anymore. Like they might have terms for shit we don't know what it was because it don't exist no more. That's
well,
Can I give you
totally
can I,
fine.
can I give you guys an example?
What's up,
Maybe
King J?
like peace Joey and peace Smash.
yeah.
So like if we're familiar with like some of the Semitic languages, right? So for instance, the concept in hand is a single horned animal, right? So in the Semitic literature, it's a wild ox. It then went from a wild ox in transliteration into the Latin and to become a rhinoceros. And then it became into English now. If you read the text, it's a whole unicorn. Now, if you read that and you read a unicorn, that's to us, that's going to put you in the mind of some magical, mythological creature. But initially, it wasn't a unicorn. It was just simply a wild ox. But we did not have a concept or a word to express that in the English, so it went to unicorn. Do you understand? I mean, are you familiar with that?
I'm not.
But
Yeah.
what I'm saying is, at some point, you're going to run into some kind of concept that you just don't understand.
Well,
Whatever you just can't
until we
understand.
get to that point, and since you are a researcher, why don't you show us what that point is? Say, okay, here is
Well,
the ancient Egyptian word. See, this is the
let, let, let me,
thing. A
let me
lot
give you
people like
a
to
bad
make
example.
cases without no.
Let me give you a bad example. But an example in the middle. Like when they talk about saying the original name of Egypt was Hecapata, right? They say that, and then when you look in the etymology dictionary, you have Hecapata, and then they talk about Memphis, they talk about Memphis, and then Egypt. Now they use
But
that word.
Hekabata is the temple.
Let him
Hold on,
finish
hold
though.
on.
What?
Let me say. What I'm saying is, Hecapata and Egypt have no linguistic correlation whatsoever. But simply because the name of the place was Hecapata, they use that as an actual etymological root, and there really is no etymology at all involved. It's just history.
Yeah, but
There's
what you just said
there's no
doesn't
equivalent.
explain what you were previously trying to argue at all.
Yeah, that's a bad example.
Yeah, that has nothing to do with whether
I
there's
said
an
it was a
ancient.
bad example.
Okay, so
I
check
did
it
say it
out.
was a bad
Before you
example.
cut me off, let me articulate this to the people. You're trying to prove that there are certain ancient Egyptian terms that we don't have English equivalents to. So what does hukapata in the Greek have anything to do with you proving that?
I said it was a bad example. And what I could think of was when you look into the dictionary for the word Egypt, it goes back to Hecapata.
Yeah, but
it's
you don't
not
need to
that
be
way.
doing that. You need to be showing us a word that's ancient Egyptian that we don't have an English equivalent to.
Maybe
Okay.
Joey just say that English is a fairly new bastardized language, and that we just don't have a lot of equivalencies to
No. What I'm saying is, if you look at the dictionary now, right? They will have words with question marks next to it, meaning they're not sure exactly what it means. Why is that?
I
Or
don't know that, but all of these,
they just have words with just straight question marks on it.
because you keep giving us new homework. All we need to do with the initial inquiry, like which ancient Egyptian term is your term of scrutiny?
I can't think of a specific one, but I have looked in the dictionary. Like for example, they had a word like sugarcane. When I look up it in the dictionary, it had a question mark next to it. Now, I assume that means they don't know exactly what it was. They just drew a conclusion based on something.
Yeah, those words are going to have to exist because we're so spread apart. If it's not based on like technologies or things that went extinct, if it's just simply concepts of the mind, I haven't come across one yet, is all I'm saying. And you do this research too. So if you want to hold something, you can't have rhetorical arguments all the time. You have to have a look. look at this type of argument. It can't be like, I'm telling you, and then you never just
Okay.
show nobody nothing.
Okay. I'll give you an example. I looked up the word sugarcane in Vickers Dictionary, and it had a question mark next to it. Because they weren't sure
You
exactly
looked up
the word
what? You said what?
sugarcane.
Sugar cane.
That's English.
Yes. And it had, no, whatever the word was in I saw somebody put it up, and I looked up, and I looked up the blip, and it said sugar cane. So, but it had a question mark next to it.
All right, so they were questioning whether the term in the dictionary meant sugar cane or not.
Yeah.
But how was that even another attestation to ancient Egyptian having words with concepts we don't have?
Okay. Let's just say this way. They have words that we can't translate. Let me be fair.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, I'm with you on that. But you gotta.
Some of it is clearly conceptual.
But can we agree they do have words that we can't translate into English? What is the basis of that? I'm saying you're saying the basis of that is because we can't capture the concept, and I'm just simply saying there might be another answer that whatever they were describing isn't a part of our world. Like let's just say we try to describe computers. Ancient Egyptian ain't gonna have no word for that.
That's a fact.
Well, it could be either or. It could be both. I'm just making an assumption that it's probably a conceptual thing, and they just don't have the conceptual tools to be able to understand what the word really means.
But I feel you, but that's leading more towards the like mythical Egypt, like the allure of this mythical, magical, mysterious place that has these terms like abracadabra that don't fit into no other language and they only work in the Medu Neter. That's kind of like coming from the allure of Egyptomania, bro.
I don't want to come across that way because
No, I'm saying it's coming from that allure. I'm not saying that you I know you're a real student, but that type of, ooh, it's magical, ooh, it can't be contained in the other words.
I didn't say that. I'm not saying that. I just recognize that when you look at Medu Neter and a Medu Neter dictionary, they only basically quote other Medu Neter documents to describe Medu Neter. They don't quote Greek and Latin to describe Medu Neter. And it's not that way with our language.
Well, how did they decipher it? They're not using Greek.
No, what I'm saying is in English, right? Greek and Latin are two of the main languages that they quote to understand the language. They call it dictionaries, but they don't do that with Medu Neter.
See, that's kind of like also like the people who say the Medu Neter ain't been deciphered because they know that Africans have these vast concepts and all this stuff. That's all a rhetorical argument with no demonstration. Demonstration beat conversation, bro. So demonstrate it. So I'm gonna end with this. I will just say the dictionary, any Egyptological dictionary that you turn to is the demonstration of the cooperation between the two languages. How you can have an ancient Egyptian term that says nature, and we could kind of know what they mean by saying our word God. If we want a better one, we'll take nature with nature, right? But so there's a whole dictionary of those. So you have to at least manifest one or two to the opposite.
Well, it's not going to argue because I don't want to sound like I'm trying to know it.
Well, you might not be prepared right now to do it. I'm saying you can still do it whether you're prepared not to do it right now. You might just not have it right now, but in your research time, if you want to be able to prove that and say that in a public forum, just have a source or two that like, look, check this out. Due diligence said he got one right there. Dude say, I can give you one. You feel me? Tell us what it is, dude.
Okay.
Well, think about it. We only speak English, right? So in order for you to tell me some concept, you won't even be able to do it. How you gonna do it? Because look, like you're gonna have to go into another language. For instance, if I talk about the ancient Egyptian concept of the Nile flood, I just said it in English. the concept of the Nile flood. Now, I can say it in Metal Nature too, but we clearly know that I just fit that concept into English.
So watch this. So watch this, man. So what would the word be for alluvial soil?
Exactly. And that's what the whole show was about earlier.
Exactly.
It was a ma, or it was a het. A het. It wasn't Kemet. Dude, you say you got one for Joey?
Yeah, I got one for him.
What's up with you?
Peace to you. So, what about my yacht? What is the conception equivalent in English for my yacht?
That's a good one. So they tried their hardest with, and they say 5 or 6 words, huh? But then they say truth, justice, reciprocity, divine order, and all of these things that are attributed to Ma'at, right? They are using a collection of English words still to get us this one concept of Ma'at. So if you want to say word for word, I can say we can have that. Let's take Dude just gave us a good one. Ma'at. Because what you going to say word for word? What's one word in English that means Ma'at? I would say truth or righteousness. But
I like that one.
But that is a good one, Dude, because we got to use like 12 English words to get that one word off. You feel me?
And right, because what he's saying is that, you know, we don't have one word to conceptualize the term Mayat, because, you know, Mayat means a lot of different things. So we're not saying that you can't describe that concept, you know what I'm saying? But there's no equivalent word that will encompass the whole thing. So I think that's what he was trying to say.
Well, that's a good statement. But I mean, you know, that's a good statement. But ultimately, we still describe what Ma'at is, though.
No, indeed, we're saying that you can describe it. What his statement was, there's no equivalent concept in a different language.
I would say balance, because like I would look at it. Would it not be fair to say that when the unification would be looked at as Mayat?
I mean, that's an aspect of Mayat. Like, it encompasses a lot.
I don't know if that would be the best one, like the unification. The unification probably brought my eye afterwards, but unification, it would just be unification. My eye got to do with, again, truth and order and all of these other things. That he said, that dude was saying they didn't have to say truth, order, reciprocity, and all that shit. They just said my eye. And we don't got no word that say that. So the one word that we think we do have that says that is justice. Justice says truth. It says order. It says reciprocity. It says all of those things.
And we were saying all that when we said Black Power. You know what I'm saying?
But am I incorrect, though?
No.
When we want justice, we be wanting Ma'at, right?
Yeah. I think justice is probably the closest you're gonna be able to get. I think is similar. You know what I'm saying? So, but we was talking about equivalence, but I'll also say this, but don't Maya have something to do also with speech and how you act and all those type of things also?
Well,
so, and then, like you said, balance, speech, you know what I'm saying? How you act, how you treat people, like Maya encompasses a lot.
It does. I don't want to limit it to anything out of that. There is something called Ma'akaru that is not direct. I mean, it's directly related to Ma'at in the way that if you live the life of Ma'at, you would be justified when you die. You become Ma'akaru, but that is the one with a true voice, or I would even say real talk, a person who spoke real, because Ma'a means real. Karu is the voice. So they said when you lived in your life, you had a true voice and you were, you now, you know, your heart is lighter than the feather in my eye. And so, but to support Joey's argument, you did pull forth a good one, which was my eye. I'll turn over the floor. I'm about to grab a water real quick.
I can also give an example, and I got a video of it. In North Korea, they don't have a word for like oppression or slavery. You know what I'm saying? So there's no equivalent. You know what I'm saying? In their language. So you got some people over there that are in bondage that don't even know about it because they don't have a word for it. Now, we're not saying that you can't describe it. You know what I'm saying? That you can give them some type of, some type of way to understand what you're talking about. But what Joey was talking about was saying that you just don't have the equivalent word, not that you can't describe it. Where everybody go? Can y'all hear me? Yeah.
Yeah, we heard you.
I forgot what was the point which you was getting to
No.
though, Joey. Like what was
No. What I was saying was, since you came on, you gave me an idea, right? I looked up the word oppressor in Medunetia, and it gave me certain words, right? When you look at the words, right, the word that means something like sexy, which means a person who's unbalanced. A word like sexy, which means like to be in an oppressed state, right? And then you look up other words for oppression. All of these words simply, most of them meant that you got beat up or driven back in a fight. So when you look at that word compared to English, it's not the same thing. It's not really the same concept. It's more like you got beat up in a fight. Or the word sexy is something like more like a depressed state, to be in a bad state. So those words, even though they translate as to be oppressed, is not the same concept that we have of oppression. Correct or incorrect? It's not the same thing.
So you're basically saying that our English language does not have the capability to express all of the different words that other languages have the ability to do.
No, what I'm saying is the example I gave you. In English, the word oppress means you go and unfairly treat someone and subjugate them. When I look up the word in the Kemetic language, it doesn't mean that. It means someone who's out of balance. It means you repel someone, you drove them back. It means a sad state of being. It doesn't mean the same thing. You understand? The concept is not the same.
Well, that's just like saying the word black.
Right.
At some point, the word black meant white. You could have spelled it BLEAC. It's all different. If you go into Old English, it's a different meaning. Is all words have different meanings depending on how the context, the time period that is used in. Starting with English, I think you're gonna always mess up. I think you should start with the whatever original that you're trying to, and then work your way from that.
Right. But what I'm saying is when they looked at these words like sexy and other words, they translate them as oppression. But when you look at what they really mean, they mean to be. Some of them mean to be driven back.
Mm-hmm. Due diligence.
Right?
Due diligence. You're familiar with the Hebrew, right?
Correct or incorrect? So
okay. So when I gave the example earlier, right? Are you familiar with the word reem? Reem?
No, I'm not.
Okay. If you look it up, reem, REEM. Like I was saying earlier, that's in reference to an animal with power, a strong one horn. It's a wild ox, right? That was the word they used for it, but there was no word for it in the English language. So to convey that same meaning, so they put, if you look now and read it, it's not reem, is unicorn, right? Because unicorn was the closest thing in the English that we had to convey that same message of a strong one-horned animal. That makes sense. Before the English, if you look in the Latin, it was rhinoceros.
No, that makes sense, and that's the point that Joey is making. You will find something that's similar. You'll find something that's similar, but it really doesn't encompass the thing that the original people were speaking about. So you have to give something that's similar.
The closest thing,
and sometimes you don't even have it. Like you said, you brought up Hebrew. Hebrew does it all the time. They have a lot of words like virgin and young girl. We always get those things confused in English too because it means something else. You know what I'm saying? Whenever you look at, you know what I mean? So that's why we got the phrase lost in translation. You know what I'm saying? That's where that comes from because not every time things translate over to the next language equivalently, like equally. So you'll lose some aspect of what was meant. Will it still work? Will you still be able to understand? Yeah, but sometimes you still lose some attributes, some aspects of the original because the later language doesn't have the equivalent. Like, you have a whole world view of these people. You know what I mean? So the word that they're using means something different, and then we can find something that's like what do you call it? A synonym, right? We'll have to use something that's close to it, but you still might lose something. That's all.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. So sometimes when you see word translated, like for example, the word hem, they say the word hem means slave. But if the word hem means slave, then how come they use it for your wife and for the kids? So we know that there's something wrong. They're not getting the full concept of what hem means. They're translating it as slave based on the context of the sentence saying that a hem nesser is like an unwilling servant, and he has no choice in what he's doing. They're translating the word as slave, but that's not exactly true. You understand what I'm saying? They're just looking at how they're seeing it. They say in our language, that's a slave, but in their language, it's not a slave. It means a servant. It means an unwilling servant with no choice. There's a big difference. You understand what I'm saying?
Indeed. So we're not saying that things can be described, like everything can be like necessarily described, but will it be exactly as the original people see it? Nah, not all the time. You know what I mean? There's not equivalent concepts. There's whole like even in, like when you go to like Japanese and stuff like that, they have whole concepts that can't be, equated over into English because we don't have their worldview. They have something that's called wabi sabi or something like that means has to do with like imperfection and unperfection. And like we have the words that say that, but we won't be able to encompass the whole concept of it. You know what I mean? They have one word that describes a whole array of things to where we don't have an equivalent word for that concept.
And what about heaven and hell? That might be a good one. They may not like our concept of heaven and hell compared to Egyptian or Semitic would be definitely different. You think?
Yeah, but we have to understand. We have to understand there is really no heaven or hell in ancient Kemetic like we see it.
Exactly.
Really
that's the point. That's the point.
Yeah, that was the point. Yep. I get it. That's exactly right.
But as we say, they can take pet to mean sky or heaven, but that may be, but that may not be as accurate as in English. Heaven might just mean the sky, not heaven is in a place where God is, because in the ancient Kemetic language they have no such concept as that. When you die, you don't go.
Some people will try to equate.
Right. When you die, you don't go to
Right. Some people will try to equate like the doo-wop for hell. Don't some people try to equate the doo-wop for hell or something like that? I'm not as good as you guys are. Yeah, I think some people do, but it's not a good translation though. But I think some people try to equate those.
Right, but the afterlife is the afterlife. There's no such thing as a good afterlife or a bad afterlife. It's just the afterlife. According to Kemetic spirituality, if your soul is no good, you get devoured. So that's it. Correct? Only those who are judged balanced get to live an afterlife. Correct?
Would you say that there's a state would you say that there's a state of purgatory that exists?
No, what they say, according to them, if I'm wrong, somebody correctly. When you go into Holy Ma'ati, if your soul is judged wrongly, you just get eaten by Amen.
So while this is happening, your so your ka separates from the ba, and while your ka is separating, when your ka returns, then you are reincarnated. Is that correct?
But what they're saying, only people who are just balanced get to go into an afterlife. If you're not balanced, there is no afterlife for you. You get devoured.
So that state that they're waiting, is that purgatory?
No longer exists. That's not hell. That's no existence. That's being wiped out. That's not the same as hell. You don't suffer for eternity in Kemetic. No. In the Kemetic system, you just get destroyed. Only the souls who are balanced get to come back. The other ones are just gone. That's not the same as hell. They'll send you nowhere.
All right, I ran over 3 hours. I'm about to get ready to shut this down. I might come back a little bit later if I can. Sometimes what's on today? Sports? Any sports?
You're asking the wrong man that question.
Hey, what's up with
That's why I
Shador
think
Sanders? What y'all feel about that?
They blackmail him because of the daddy. I think they want him to come on as an undrafted free agent.
Damn, that's ridiculous. That's all ridiculous to me.
Because he definitely qualified.
Yeah, I
He
know.
should have been picked.
He gonna get picked today. It's all good. All right, I gotta let the show end at 3:15. I appreciate y'all for making a good one. I'm gonna holler next time. All
thanks
right,
for the
Yes.
information.
that's what's up. Peace. Let me see. All right, I'm gonna go see what the draft come on. What come on today? I'm probably gonna get. Oh, you know what? I bought some stuff to clean hella shoes. I've been watching them YouTube. I'm about to have hella fun cleaning hella shoes. That's gonna be my chill for right now. All right, I'm gonna holler at y'all. Peace.